fair. And then, we've talked about it on y'all's show before. What does the media look like? Are we at risk to being exposed, or are we putting the players at risk? Or really not just media, anybody that comes in contact. I mean, football players spend more time with their trainers than most people spend with their families. And, are those guys going to have to be quarantined from their families to be able to accommodate the needs of the players? Probably say the same thing about the equipment staff. It's a mess when you really think about all the different layers to it. And I think I've said before, I don't envy the people that have to try to come up with a smart plan to make it all work, because it's hard to think about it being completely feasible, to be honest with you.
The Hall of Fame game, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is set for August the 8th, obviously Jimmy Johnson, among others that were supposed to be there, and some of the guys are going to be inducted we've had on this show in the last couple of months. It appears as if the Ohio governor has said now that game is unlikely. That's not a surprise to me, but your thoughts about just that story in itself?
It's very similar. It's just kind of, verbal confirmation of what I think we all already thought. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly what everything's going to look like. It's still almost 2 months away. But I think everybody's kind of had the thought that at the very least, playing a full preseason, including a Hall of Fame game, which is an extra preseason game anyway, I think most people would probably agree that doesn't seem overly realistic. So, it's not a surprise to hear him say that, although I'll be interested to see just how different things are in 60 days when you think about, how much we've learned in such a short amount of time during this entire process.
David, is there anything going on with the Cowboys other than this? It's got to be kind of monotonous for you covering them every day.
Yeah, well, fortunately, June is typically a dead period anyways. People in the league, this is when you try to fit in your vacation time and unplug for a little bit. So it's kind of normal in the sense, if this was a normal year, minicamp would be winding down and everything would be about to be dead anyway. So it's not that far out of the realm of what we're used to, but with the lockdown and, the facilities aren't functioning the way that they normally do, I'm still not going into the office. So it makes it a little more monotonous than usual. And I was joking with my boss yesterday, I feel guilty about how unproductive I am, but at the same time, there's way more important stuff going on, and eventually it'll fire up like it always does. Who knows what it's going to look like, but at some point things will be going and we'll just be as busy as we usually are. So, trying to, I guess, enjoy it as much as I can until something pops off, because that, the minute you let your guard down and assume that it's going to be boring is when something crazy happens.
Well, and I said this yesterday, and one of our listeners, he wasn't offended by it, but he was like, man, you're not being fair to Zeke. It couldn't have been anybody but him, right? As far as the amount of attention the story got, and then to add Zeke's name to it.
Yeah, and that's fair. I don't want to be unfair to Zeke. I know some people on Twitter were being jerks talking about how him and Dak had that party. That was in freaking March, and supposedly this test happened last week. So it's unfair to assume that he's not following the rules or any of that stuff. But at the same time, I agree with you. It's kind of like Murphy's Law. Like anything anything bad that can happen will. Like a guy, logic just says that if it's the Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott's probably going to be in the headline, whether that's fair or not.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. As you said, it's June.
Man.
Thanks for your time. We appreciate Dave Hellman.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Bohannon will give it to Lovett and a big burst. John Lovett's going to take it all the way. 46 yards.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Ross Batizik is the snapper. Kickoff away, and it is good! John Mayers, welcome to college football.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco. Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
It's inside right edge and solid.
And Tiger Woods is the 100th U.S. Open champion in history.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go on this Thursday, episode 54. The great numbers of 54. Randy White was 54 in sports history. There's probably a pitcher or two. Was Drysdale 51?
Yeah, Brian Urlacher.
Brian Urlacher. So Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, Deontay Epps. I'm David Smoke, SicEm365 Radio. We'll get to some stories here in a moment. Our guest lineup today includes Max Olson, theathletic.com, wrote a really lengthy, thorough picture. Again, some of it you know, some of it was new on Dave Aranda, the Baylor football coach. And then also today at 4 o'clock, Hall of Fame center, Dwight Stevenson of the Miami Dolphins on many things, his career, the passing, of course, earlier. Remember, who was it we had on? Was it Nat Moore when Don Shula passed away? He was one of the greats in the Shula years. And then also today, high school coach from Belton, new head coach Brett Sniffen. He'll join us today. Mickey Spagnola today at 5 o'clock. And the legendary,
you have not started
one of the nicest guys you'll ever know, and one hell of a football player from University of High Baylor and with the Steelers, Walter Abercrombie. Well,
show recording is on.
This baseball thing. So the commissioner meets with Tony Clark on Tuesday and then again Wednesday. Man, it looked good. What would you have thought, even knowing these two don't like each other? Did you feel like that maybe by today there would be news that something was agreed upon?
Yes, I did.
No, Craig. Okay. Well, they're moving, as someone I saw just now, they're moving the goalpost again. The union now has countered with, instead of, 60 games, they want 70. And then they also want a specific number in playoff bonus money. 50-50 split, new postseason TV revenues in 2021. Forgiveness, there's so many things. So they've now added to the mix. So do the players start to take some heat too instead of just the owners? I know the players usually are the ones, well, my God, they're making millions. The owners kind of walk away. Isn't it now? Aren't they now a part of this frustration too? Because there was something and now they want something else. Aren't they doing to the owners, guys, what they said the owners were doing to them?
I mean, they're countering. I mean, I think that's natural, but yeah. I mean, a little bit.
I don't think that the players are really caving into much or demanding much. I think that this is still on the owners more than anything else. The owners are the ones that keep coming up with, well, now it's 70 games, or when it was 60, and then before that it was this, and then now it's that, and it keeps changing. I blame some of it on the reports that are being leaked to the media, because as of yesterday, if you were thinking there was going to be a baseball season, you were saying that based off of what the media was telling you. And then today we find out that big meeting that Rob Manfred had with Tony Clark, where apparently all the issues were solved. Well, Tony Clark releases a statement today through the MLBPA, basically saying that nothing was agreed to during that meeting. They explored frameworks, but he repeatedly made clear in the meeting that there were a number of significant issues with what had been proposed, including the number of games, so that they didn't reach an agreement on anything. And So, you know what? At this point, I don't think we're going to have baseball. If we do, that'll be a pleasant surprise, but I'm not expecting it at all at this point. They just keep dragging it out.
So they just go, ping pong, right? Move the goalpost from the left corner end zone all the way to the middle and back. And again, that is a part, as you mentioned, Paul. It's part of negotiating.
Well, here's the thing.
Don't just lay down and go, okay, we'll take it.
Yeah.
You try to get whatever you can until there's a point where you better make a decision.
Here's the thing. They are on the clock. I mean, they cannot wait another 2 months to decide to have a season. So won't surprise me at all if they get to where they really can only have 50 games, which is what the owners wanted originally, apparently. And then all of a sudden they magically solve all their issues and they get together and they do what the owners wanted to do from the very beginning, or what the players wanted to do. It's so confusing and just so back and forth, and they're running out of time, although there's still some time left to figure it out.
University of Texas saying now that 13 football players have tested positive for coronavirus. 13 are now self-isolating. 10 more players identified through contact tracing are in self-quarantine but asymptomatic at this time. 4 players have actually tested positive for COVID, the antibodies. And, of course, Kansas State's had some. They've had more. Baylor had 3 out of 59. 2 of them football players, I believe, and another student athlete. And again, there might be another release. Mac Rhodes is doing a Zoom media session tomorrow, and they're going to just every week update you on where they are.
13's a lot. I mean, I don't care what the return is, and we're going to get positives and all that. 13's a heck of a lot of guys. That's a tenth of your football team right there. That's all got it already, and you just started resuming workouts earlier this week. So, it'll be interesting to hear what Mac Rhodes has to say tomorrow if they announce there are more positives, or maybe they don't announce anything new in that regard until next Tuesday or something. I don't know what their plan is, but we will have the opportunity to ask him questions. But, I mean, shoot, Houston had 6 or 7 earlier this week, and we thought that was a lot. 13's a lot of guys to have COVID-19 and be isolated now.
Yeah, if Baylor would have come out with that number yesterday, I would have said, whoa, that's one, that's 1/7 of your roster.
We would have demanded they shut down workouts already.
Yeah.
That's a lot of guys, man. That's 13 guys, not to mention the peripheral that are all now isolated as well. So, I mean, we're not going to know who the individuals are, if it's Sam Ehlinger, and we don't really need to know that at this point. But, I mean, today when I saw that, and I'm seeing the numbers around the counties here in Central Texas, today, another death from COVID, a 46-year-old man who I don't know if he had underlying health conditions or not, but still 46 years old makes you raise your eyebrows a little bit. And we're going on, I think it is 6 or 7 days in a row of a new high in hospitalizations in a lot of places. So, we knew that the corona was going to return at some point to the forefront of what we were talking about. But when I'm seeing 13 positives at one school and deaths rising, hospitalizations rising, it just makes me a little nervous for this season.
Are the numbers rising because they're testing more?
No, it's hospitalizations. I'm not talking about positive tests. I'm talking about actually going to the hospital. Those are rising. That's part of the deal there.
Yeah, and that's with the numbers rising, there's going to be more people who have to go to the hospital because people all react to it. The 4 of us in this room could all get it and all have different reactions to it.
Mm-hmm. ACC, the latest. This is not a surprise. I don't even know. It's a note, though. Conferences that are having their media days now virtually. ACC will have theirs in Charlotte. The event had been scheduled, for Charlotte. And you would think, by the way, one of the things about the virtual media days, it's not like everybody converges in Dallas and we have to do it. They're going to be at various locations wherever they are. Yeah. Waco, Lubbock, Fort Worth, Austin. Only reason this story is even being brought up is because of Paul Catalina's glee. The Florida Gators will discontinue Gator bait that cheered despite no evidence of direct, that's the title of the stories, no evidence of direct racial ties. Seriously, you were doing backflips.
No, I wasn't. I read this. I couldn't believe this, but a friend of mine sent me when I sent him the story via text. He said, yeah, look at this article. And there's a Snopes.com article that says that the term gator bait goes back to, the 1800s and slavery and early 1900s where young African American babies were used as gator bait by alligator hunters and slave traders during slavery times. And while their specific cheer probably doesn't have anything to do with it, it's just the terminology overlaps. And man, I just could imagine being a fly on the wall in that meeting when that came up and like, oh my gosh. I mean, you read some of the stuff and it was unbelievable, the history. I didn't even, as a history buff, I didn't even know about
So the gator
this.
bait is the two hands,
No, that's the chomp.
Okay.
So they have a cheer that goes ba-da-da-da-da-da, gator bait. That's the one they do.
I didn't hear that much, Craig. Did you hear that much when we were at the Fiesta Bowl back in '95?
I heard it a ton, yeah.
Oh.
They do, it's like Boomer Sooner for them, Paul, right?
They started to do it, but when they eventually they stopped when they're getting drilled by Tommy Frazier.
Well, we're also seeing, UNLV is apparently going to change the Rebels name, and I don't know who all still even is, who even still has the Rebels name, because that was one of those things like Indians that a lot of people started changing their names. So that's, an ongoing process of everything that's going on as well. It'll be interesting to see how deeply we dive into every chant, every tradition, every single thing and try to see if there's some connection to racism or not, and if it needs to be done away with. But certainly there's a lot of house cleaning going on right now, I guess you could say, and a lot of things that maybe we just realized were that way, like Aunt Jemima is no longer going to be a thing. Aunt Jemima, I don't know if y'all saw this. Clearly it doesn't take a mathematician to connect the dots and how it could be construed as racist. The Aunt Jemima character, who's a Texan, I believe, but that's going to be done away with. So we're seeing a lot of things like that are going on right now, and this is, I guess, just not all that surprising.
From the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line, and we get a lot of you that do come on with us, some very consistent. Carl, hey guys, I have to admit I'm growing more and more concerned with sports in our society. Today, the Austin City manager announced he'll be cutting 100 sworn officer positions. This will affect schools and sporting events. I'm only concerned about COVID because of my daughter's impending birth, that if we test positive, then we won't be able to see our daughter for 14 days after birth. But I will not be going to sporting events without police there. Colleges, high schools, professional sports will be completely affected if there's a lack of policing at the events.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something to take into account. There's more than one reason to not go to games this year if you so choose. And if not for covering games, I'm sure that I would, be more inclined to be at home and to listen on the radio or to watch it on TV. But, yeah, between the, I guess, security or safety that you feel or lack thereof to the security, safety you feel health-wise or lack thereof, I just saw McLennan County released their latest statistics. 23 new cases today gives the Waco-McLennan County District 245 total, 135 recovered. So yeah, there's 400 being monitored. So that the numbers are going up and up and up all across the state and all across the country in many cases. So between that and potentially a lack of security, I can understand that.
Mark Cuban says that if his players take a knee during the national anthem, he hopes to join them. You mentioned this on Outside the Lines. If they are taking a knee and we're being respectful, I'd be proud of them. Hopefully, I'd join them, whether it's arm in arm, taking a knee, whatever it is. I don't think this is an issue of respect or disrespect to the flag or the anthem or to our country. I think it's more a reflection of our players' commitment to the country and the fact that it's so important to them. They're willing to say what's in their heart to do what they think is right. And, of course, that's going to be once games begin again. Interesting to see how the players and others react. Dr. Fauci, Craig gave me this. We will be flexible and adaptable, the NFL's chief medical officer, based, I guess, on, of course, health concerns, right? COVID, whatever else.
Yeah, the NFL chief medical officer came out today in response to Dr. Fauci, who said that he feels like it's low odds that there's going to be a football season. So the NFL was responding to that, saying that they were going to take every precaution and safety measure imaginable. But, yeah, Fauci, and I know he's very hit or miss. He's changed his opinion like 50 times with this whole thing. It's one point he said, no, we don't need to wear masks unless you're, of high risk. And now everybody's supposed to be wearing masks again. And no, that this has nothing to do with being around. Oh, go for, it's been one thing after the other. It's always wait a couple more weeks. But regardless of where you stand on the guy, the latest thing that he has said as of today is that he thinks it's very unlikely there's going to be, a full-blown football season. So that's the NFL responding to that.
Josh Gordon applying for reinstatement again.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Whatever.
HBO's Hard Knocks will be the Rams and the Chargers. They'll feature those two teams in Los Angeles. That's part of that as well. Okay, Max Olson will be our first guest. Right now, 254-339-1122. I'll update the RBC Heritage in just a second. The golf tournament that's back on. Not getting as much play, it seems like, or at least attention as Colonial last week in Fort Worth because it's not the first one back, but there's some big names. Jordan Spieth playing well again. We'll have that. 254-339-1122. If, in fact, you're a part of any of the next calls in the next segment.
I need to re-log into the thing because when I heard the people were doing it, I got scared and hung up. So we're going to have to do it on the air because it was going out anyway, even though I couldn't hear it.
What does that mean?
I just have to – you'll hear it. I just have to re-log into the thing.
I didn't hear it.
It's just on the air. I know, but I have to do it so that –
So when are you going to do it?
Right now, I just wanted to
Well,
let
log
you know
in, and then I'm going to give the number. And the first couple of callers, you get an option here today.
Yeah.
Whether it's a round of golf to Cottonwood Creek Golf Course, thanks to Kenny Duron, or a gift card to Chick-fil-A for a free meal. And we'll send those to you. 254-339-1122. 254-339-1122. First-time callers. Those of you who have been a part of it from day one, April the 6th. Had a meeting yet today with another sponsor that will join us. That was phenomenal. He could not believe some of what we've done, and he and she could not believe what we've done, and also news, of course, that we have coming up very soon.
So people are going to kind of hear this. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you for calling Collin Studios
You wanna
host
hear it
and
on the
call
air?
Yeah, I want to hear it on the
line.
air. We might as well
Please
do it
enter
now.
your show number and press pound.
This sounds like spam. This is a bot.
Enter your 6-digit PIN number.
Oh, dear God. What is it, Paul? Give it to us so everyone in the world can hear. Okay,
Welcome,
there it is.
host.
All right.
You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Collin Studio web interface. Show recording is on.
See, that means we actually have
There
it.
we go.
Okay. All right.
Okay, there we go.
254-339-1122. We went all through that so you could give us a call so we could hear from you and we could answer questions and, more importantly, just listen to what you have to say today about your thoughts. Are you any more leery now today than ever, or even back 2 months ago or even a week ago about pro sports and all that's going on? 254-339-1122. Craig and Paul. Deontay's here. I'm David Smoke, and this is SicEm365 Radio.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help you and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
We're fighting hard at Pickup Outfitters in our battle to end truck nudity. But it's not just about putting an outfit on a naked truck. It's about making sure you have the very best customer service. So we offer the Pickup Outfitters Lifetime Installation Guarantee. Over time, sometimes your outfit needs a little tune-up, maybe some tightening, adjusting, whatever. If you outfitted your truck at Pickup Outfitters, that tune-up is absolutely no charge for the remainder of the time you own that truck. We also offer free warranty assistance. If for any reason you need to use your warranty, you just bring it back to us and we take care of it. It just makes sense. I mean, operating without a promise like that would be like offering customer service in the nude. And if you've seen our staff, trust me, you don't want that. So do your part to end truck nudity by outfitting your truck, Jeep, SUV, or van at Pickup Outfitters, 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we promise to serve you fully clothed. Check out our website, createacommotion.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Has your opinion of the start of the college football season being on time changed any at all in recent days, in the last week or two? 254-339-1122, 254-339-1122. That is the call-in line. You could also get us on the text line, brought to you by Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Same number, 254-339-1122. Has your opinion of the start of the football season, or was it always kind of like, mine is it will start on time? Yes, things change daily. Kind of like the Baseball Owners and Players Association negotiations, things can change. 254-339-1122. Has your opinion of the start of the college football season changed at all in recent days? I got this from AJ. Read it. I kind of went over it. Lee, you know what? He said something about how the NFL has always been for freedom of speech, right? Mm-hmm. Tim Tebow kneeled in each game to pray in 2012. They issued him, what was it? They had an issue with that. The NFL did.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. No, because in 2013, the NFL fined Brandon Marshall for wearing green cleats to raise awareness for people with mental health disorders. Remember, the uniform code is like, in 2014, Robert Griffin III entered a post-game press conference wearing a shirt that said, "No Jesus, no peace," but was forced to turn it inside out by an NFL uniform inspector.
I remember that one.
2015, D'Angelo Williams was fined for wearing Find the Cure eye black for breast cancer awareness. In 2015, William Gay was fined for wearing purple cleats to raise awareness for domestic violence. Not that the NFL's ever dealt with things like that. 2016, the Cowboys were prevented by the NFL from wearing a decal on their helmet honoring 5 Dallas police officers killed in the line of duty. Mm-hmm. In 2016, the NFL threatened to fine players who wanted to wear cleats to commemorate the 15th anniversary of 9/11. You remember that one?
Yeah.
So tell me again how the NFL supports free speech and expression. Why now?
Well, the NFL is, especially the owners, and that's who makes these decisions. Roger Goodell doesn't really make these decisions. He makes these decisions on behalf of the owners who he works for. He doesn't work for the players. He works for the owners. That's who Roger Goodell works for. And the NFL has been painfully slow on a lot of things. Just using domestic violence as an issue. Yeah, everybody wears pink all October long and raises awareness about women's rights and breast cancer and domestic violence and all that stuff. But, Ray Rice got 2 games. And the only reason that Ray Rice didn't come back after 2 games and play was because TMZ got the video and released it. If TMZ never gets that video, Ray Rice gets 2 games, and we think, well, I guess that thing in the elevator wasn't that big of a deal. It's all we've seen.
Which they had.
Yeah. And they can pretend like they never saw it, but the guy with the water bottle and the shirts he buttons down too low can get it, and you can't, and you're the NFL? Come on now.
No, yeah, they got busted there, but, as typical with anybody who's uber rich and on top of their profession, there's no repercussions for people like that, hardly ever. The same things we get thrown away for years for, like embezzling or things like that in the corporate world. Those types of people high up seem to, somehow get probation for that or whatever the case may be. So, Goodell got a little bit of a slap in the face with that, but he overcame it pretty quickly. And, they just, before now, been able to constantly stomp out any sort of uprising or any sort of real, vocal party in opposition of whatever they may or may not be doing. But I think in this case, this apology that Roger Goodell issued, it's simply because it's the popular thing to do now. He really had no other choice other than to stay silent. And as the head of the NFL, he really couldn't afford to do that. So I think he did it out of pressure. Hopefully he did it somewhat out of his heart as well. But the fact that he came out and said what he said when he said it, and the way that the NFL has reacted to it, it's all just simply a reaction to, the circumstances, and it's not anything that's proactive on their part. They were the league that could have stopped the Kaepernick thing from the very beginning. I mean, that story is a story because of the National Football League and no one else.
It's like they were frozen.
Yeah,
they just didn't know how to react, and instead of doing, here's what I have a problem, and I get myself in trouble with this. So, say what you feel, deal with it. That is, I would rather someone say how they feel than rather someone say how they think other people think they should feel. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. Well, I wonder, because I don't know, did the NFL ever have an open dialogue with Colin Kaepernick about this at all? Did the NFL?
No, it was almost as if they were petrified to react to it. Even if they would have reacted to it like, you're gone, like, do something.
After he sat down, before he even kneeled, when he sat down that first time, if Roger Goodell had said, hey, I would like to talk to you about this, can we have a meeting? And then maybe we never get the kneeling controversy at all. Maybe he says, Colin, what can we do to help you shine light on this issue?
Man, I tell you what, there's some owners that, they're like Jerry Jones. He may come up with something here that makes him look like the guy writing in to save the day. But it's interesting how some have said nothing. Now, just because they haven't said anything, that doesn't mean I'm going to condemn them. Just because you have said something, that doesn't mean you truly mean that, or are you trying to look good?
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Roger Goodell, I hope that part of that was straight from his heart, but the timing's awfully funny. You never have said anything along these lines ever until these protests are at an all-time boiling point.
Why not say it 6 months ago?
Why not say it 2 years ago?
2 years.
I mean, yeah.
Now you say it because you feel forced to say it. It seems like it's somewhat, the word's not fraudulent. It's got a little fakeness to it.
Well, and
then again, sometimes you finally realize, oh my God,
sure.
We are behind the curve.
A lot of people right now are realizing things in a different way than they were before. Even if they felt like they were open-minded, I think everybody's had a little bit of a look in the mirror. I mean, I would hope between Corona and protests that at some point everybody out there sat and looked at themselves in the mirror and thought about like who they are, what they believe, what's right, what's wrong. If you haven't, you've missed the opportunity of our lifetimes to really go through things like that. But yeah, it's somewhat disingenuous to me, the Goodell apology.
When we come back, Max Olson wrote a very lengthy feature on Dave Aranda. Some of it you may have already known about it. Some of it was new. He's next on SicEm365 Radio. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. And order 30-pound bags of live crawfish by noon on Thursday and pick up on Friday to enjoy the weekend. Live crawfish available right now. And Waco Custom Marketplace doors are open for business Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5. And crawfish boil boxes available as well. Make your order for live crawfish by noon on Thursday. Pick up on Friday for the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh kolaches, cinnamon rolls, and baked bread daily. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, and house-cured and smoked bacon. Spices, seasoning, soup mixes, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Waco Custom Marketplace, doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneerboys.com.
Ram, a legend of loyalty. Alan Samuels, legendary customer loyalty. Now bringing you special Ram pricing to kick off summer. Pick the perfect Ram 1500 regular cab with special incentives, including $500 additional first responder bonus cash. Now just $22,990. Or pick up a loaded up new Ram 2500 HD Limited 4x4. The Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Now with up to $12,000 in savings. Drive forward. Ram from Alan Samuels.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through. And business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Max Olson of The Athletic. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus. And best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects. With 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Right now on SicEm365 Radio, Max Olson, The Athletic. Max normally, most of the time at 4 o'clock. Dwight Stevenson, Hall of Fame center, will join us at 4. Walter Abercrombie today at 4:30. Belton coach Brett Sniffen at 3:45. Max, thanks for your time. I saw the story. You must have gotten some pretty good access. You had the story, I think, as well on what was it, the new one of the new players or coaches on staff. So you spent time with Baylor. You spent time, obviously, getting to know a little bit more about Dave Aranda. Great story. What was it when you came out of the time with him discussing everything that caught your attention or two the most?
Yeah, it's funny. So you're talking about the state of the program that we're doing at Baylor that's on the Athletics this week, and I'd encourage your listeners to check it out. But it's funny, I sat down with Coach Aranda at the beginning of March before everything went to hell, and I remember at the end of talking with him for an hour and a half, I said, all right, I'll follow up with you in May after spring ball, and we'll talk about your personnel, since, you know, those guys didn't really know what they had yet. And, of course, then there's no spring ball, so I ended up following up with him on the phone, and we tried to talk personnel, but it's tough to say definitive things about how the depth chart and the roster is going to shake out, because you just haven't, you know, they've had a lot of time to bond with those players through Zoom meetings and phone calls and all that, but you just haven't been able to put it on the graph. I mean, I've heard they've installed their system like 7 or 8 times already, but it's time to apply it to the field and see how guys respond. And it's hard to kind of replicate and figure out what you've got until you do 11 on 11 stuff. So, it was a fun project to kind of try and get his sense of what he's inherited with this Baylor team. But there's certainly so much more that they have to figure out when they can actually be together.
One of the things, Max, that's struck me about Dave Aranda is how calm he seems at all times, which I would think that going into a season where you don't have your normal offseason, you would want a calm guy at the helm who's not high-strung and sweating bullets about everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and I asked him when I spoke to him on the phone, I think probably about 2 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and he was on another one of his drives back from Baton Rouge to Waco. I asked him about, what Smokey asked him, any regrets about, being a first-year head coach in a year like this. And, I think his perspective is really refreshing because I'm sure it's a really hard thing to be pulling off a transition like this and in these really, kind of uncertain, unprecedented times. And he's a pure optimist. He really is. He looks at this stuff and he says, let's find some ways to take advantage. I think he feels really strongly that the way they've connected with their players during this time is a lot stronger than they would have in a normal year. And, let's find advantages here and then try and turn the weaknesses into strengths when they're back together. And so, yeah, I think just the way that he sees things and the way that he views the importance of kind of building that organizational culture and the way that they connect with their players is so important to him. I think he's still been able to do that, even if it's from a distance.
Max, as far as the personnel goes, I know he spoke on some of the guys to the best of his ability, although his knowledge will be far greater once he's eventually able to get to these guys. But was there anything he stood out in that regard? He said in that regard that stood out to you about any of the personnel or the players?
Well, I think obviously one of the important things right now is kind of where's your leadership coming from, especially when you lose as much as they did off of that defense. And I think it's clear, and I know he said this publicly, but certainly Charlie's really asserted himself as one of the leaders of this team. And in talking with him, it didn't seem like there was much in the way of quarterback controversy there. That Charlie's the guy, and just Dave Aranda said he's improved as much as anybody in their program, and that his leadership's been really impressive during this time. I think there's a lot of groups on defense where I think, and this goes without saying, but I think Aranda just wants to see, all right, can we get competitive depth? Can we get young guys that are ready to compete? You have new leaders on the D line with Cheedy and Gabe Hall. Do other guys step up and are they ready to contribute? Can you find, you've got Trell Bernard and William Bradley King, a linebacker, but who else is ready? And same with DB, really, where you feel okay about Raleigh Tejada and Boogie, but who else is can play at a high level? And he mentioned Al Walcott's the guy that he's really counting on. So I think the youth and just I know Matt Rule and his staff recruited good players, and so those young guys that haven't had to play yet, can they step into starting roles and be dependable guys? We
have had, and you know this, Max, because on occasion you've listened on Tuesdays or listened back to a podcast of Mac Rhodes, and he had told us about his time when he was in New Mexico, and he had a phone conversation with Dave Aranda. Wasn't it at an airport? He's tucked into a little tiny booth or whatever at the airport and had this lengthy conversation with Dave Aranda. We've heard a lot from what Dave Aranda did, but I thought this was really cool when he hung up the phone after speaking with Mac Rhodes, and this is before they left for the national championship game. He said that it was the best call he had yet about a head coaching job, and there hadn't been many of those, but his gut feeling, oh yeah, I wanted the job. How cool was it how quickly both Mac Rhodes and Dave Aranda connected, really without even seeing each other?
Yeah, I think it's, one thing that Dave Aranda pointed out, and you guys, I'm sure, picked up on this over the months, is that, Dave Aranda just talks differently than these other coaches and sees things differently, has a different vision. And I think when he goes through this process of looking at these jobs and you have these conversations with ADs, you're just trying to find that fit. Does the guy understand the way that I see things and the way that I would run a football program? And I think in that initial phone call they had, he felt like they were speaking the same language. And I think that maybe hasn't been super easy for Dave Aranda to find, because we know he has a unique perspective on how to be a really successful coach. And so I think just the way they connected early on, he felt like, you know what, this is a guy that maybe gets me and maybe gets the way I would do things. And then certainly I think it's really cool that, I mean, this guy gets back to his hotel at 2 a.m. after beating Trevor Lawrence in Clemson and winning the national title, you know, really the highest achievement he could possibly get to in his career here. And he's got to rally on that Tuesday morning with his agents and get ready for a 6-hour job interview that afternoon. So it's crazy to think how quickly things flip there, where, you know, you're celebrating a national championship on Monday night. He said he had one glass of Cabernet and that was it. And then by Thursday night, you're meeting your brand new football team.
Max, did he say anything that, positions he was nervous about, or maybe not as confident in as they go into the year?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, I think he's pretty clear out on what they've lost on defense. And, so the important thing there is just, like I said, can you find what you need? I think he feels pretty good about the offensive line and just that, on the offensive defensive line, I think he feels like they've got pieces, and I think he really has a lot of faith in Joe Wickline and Dennis Johnson to get those rooms right. I think the offensive line is going to be better than what we saw last year, and they've got enough guys there. But no, it's so hard to say. It really is. Like, I think there's groups where you, like running back, where you're like, okay, they've got the numbers, they've got, you've got this kind of set up right. And there's going to be groups that if you have injuries or a little bit of surprises there, then you're going to have some problems. It's not to say that this team isn't deep. It's just that depth is just not proven yet. And so as much as guys might, pick it up in your Zoom meetings and nod their heads and act like they get it, you just really don't know until you get out to the field.
Well, Max, Dave Aranda's already had a very strange journey as Baylor head coach, and it could continue to be strange because no surprise, as colleges are starting to move players back onto campuses, we're seeing tests positive across college football, and I think everybody was a little bit taken aback by Texas reporting 13 players apparently have COVID-19, in addition to some peripheral folks who I guess are being quarantined as well. We knew this was going to be a challenge, and we knew there was going to be, positive tests, but just what are your thoughts on what we've seen so far and basically the first week or two of colleges trying to get back to it?
Yeah, to me, it's been really interesting to see kind of how people have responded to the Texas news today, because I don't know if I totally agree with the way everyone sort of reacted to it. I think, first of all, you have to appreciate the transparency. This is what we've wanted, that these schools would put out a very specific saying, these are our numbers, this is how many people are sitting out and how many people are positive. So I think that's helpful. But look, I mean, Tom Herman said 2 weeks ago, like they're going to end up spending more than $1 million just on getting players back to campus. Texas has the resources to handle this, no matter the cost in terms of getting this right. And so I think while that number, 13 is a big number, it makes sense in some ways when you return your players back in phases. And I believe they just brought their freshmen back in. So it makes sense that you'd be introducing more players into your program who might have, might test positive. But, frankly, I think that in some ways it's a good thing that you have to work through this in June. And I think there's going to be a lot of lessons learned from having positive tests on players come back to campus and figuring out, okay, what's the right amount of quarantine? How do we effectively do contact tracing? What are the concerns on a player that does test positive and returning them back to athletic activity? Like, I think it's important that they do the work now, because I don't know what the answer is going to be when this happens in September. They've got to figure that out now by going through this process.
Yeah, and you're right. It's almost as if my mind feels like this is mid to late July and that we have practices in a week or two, although you look up and it will be mid-July. And that perhaps things might flare up even more. And then again, maybe by the time it matters, what was the date, Craig, that you gave, or yesterday, the timeline of when they would go back? late July?
Well, no. With the news yesterday, like July 13th is basically the start of some summer activities, and so Mac Rhodes had told us that if that were the date, because that's what they expected the date to be, that means coaches will start returning after July 4th weekend.
Okay,
is what he said.
And it just may be a week-to-week deal. Who knows? What are you hearing, Max, that our coaches or those at theathletic.com or others you speak with, are they still pretty confident things are going to be okay, or do you feel like maybe they're starting to be uh-oh?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think I think a lot of the initial positives here, it's something that people plan for, and when you come up with your return to campus plan, part of it is the anticipation that there's going to be positives. I think you've seen some instances like Houston where you wonder, okay, was that part of their plan, or did they have more positives than they expected, and that forces you to shut things down and kind of rethink some things. I think, quite frankly, a lot of people are just looking for guidance here and wondering, when is the Big 12 going to give them policies on how much they should be testing and what the protocols are going to be for the season and stuff like that. I think these conferences really need to step up here and, provide I don't think you look to the NCAA and Mark Emmert for this stuff. I think you look to your conference to establish those guidelines, and I think that's going to have to, come out here at some point, because you just can't have 130 teams doing 130 different policies, and so really interesting to see the initial results here. I'm not sitting here and saying that the season is suddenly in jeopardy because of the positives that are happening this week. I think that's expected, but the key thing here is you got to figure out your response, and you got to figure out, can we, quite frankly, guys, there's not going to be a vaccine for this in the next couple of weeks. Okay. And this is about managing it and about figuring out how do you manage it to the best of your ability, but it's going to continue to happen.
Yeah, I think it is. With the way, well, we got a guest coming up at Belton. Max, thank you very much. And I appreciate you. And that question when we were on that Zoom call with Dave Aranda, and everyone's asked him so many questions, even though there's been so much being away from each other, is that I just felt like it was worth it. I don't think a coach would ever say, "Hell no, I should have stayed at LSU." But it's not so much his answer was yes; it's how quickly he answered it and how thoroughly he said why yes.
I agree with you, and look, you have to have some empathy that this is not how anyone would want a transition to go, where you're having to drive back and forth between Waco and Baton Rouge, and you're having to you want to really get around your kids and really bond with them, and you can't. Like there's a lot of challenges to it, and I wouldn't expect him to say, "Yeah, I wish I could go back to LSU." But I think you're totally right. Just the way that he's responded and the way that he's sort of kept his eye on the important things here, certainly very impressive for Baylor.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate your time. Love the work.
Thanks,
Max Olson with us on Thursdays, committed to being a part of SicEm365 Radio. I just saw this from Grayson Grundhafer, who's on with us Fridays at 3:45. Baylor adds Iowa transfer at linebacker. Dylan Doyle had put out something about that Baylor provides a special situation to be a part of a culture with world-class people and coaches every day. I can't wait to get started. While thinking, of course, I guess I'm not sure if he'd been at Iowa. Is that right? Or
He's the son of the strength and conditioning coach that got fired.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he announced he was going to transfer like 3 days ago. So that was a quick decision for him. Linebacker, played in every game last year. Didn't have a bunch of stats, but he played. I think he must have redshirted his freshman year. And so he will be a redshirt sophomore, I guess, by the time he gets to play in another year from now, which this might be the best year ever to sit out because there might not be a year. So, Dylan Doyle, whose father was the strength and conditioning coach who's disputed his exit from Iowa. But because of all that, I mean, I'd want to transfer too if I was him. I wouldn't want to stick around there with all that was going on. So, he'll join the program, and they need some linebackers. So they've got another linebacker. It's just, not going to be a quick, impact being made, but they need bodies and they need linebackers, so we'll see how it goes here.
When we come back, he's the first-year head coach at Belton. Remember, now they have the two schools, Lake Belton, where Brian Cope is. Brett Sniffen had a great run at Ridgepoint. Now at Belton, he's next on SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. And order 30-pound bags of live crawfish by noon on Thursday and pick up on Friday to enjoy the weekend. Live crawfish available right now. And Waco Custom Marketplace doors are open for business Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5. And crawfish boil boxes available as well. Make your order for live crawfish by noon on Thursday. Pick up on Friday for the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh kolaches, cinnamon rolls, and baked bread daily. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, and house-cured and smoked bacon. Spices, seasonings, soup mixes, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Waco Custom Marketplace, doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Log on to the Willis Law Firm chat room on SicEm365.com.
You know, we brought up just a minute ago with our interview with Max Olson, theathletic.com, and Dave Aranda, a new coach, their first opponent, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, a new head coach. And we've brought that up with a lot of the colleges, but there's a lot of the high schools that are going through that as well. You named a head coach. You had a little bit of time back in mid-January. Brett Sniffen was named the head coach at Belton, and then it wasn't 2 months later, they're shut down, and he now joins us, the head coach at Belton High, Brett Sniffen, on SicEm365 Radio. Paul Craig, and I'm David Smoke. Brett, thank you. Did you have enough time the 2 months prior to the shutdown to know quite a bit about what you needed to know despite not really having spring drills?
Well, one thing I did know is I know they work hard. They're good kids. They listen. They're coachable. But, you know, obviously missing the spring ball and not being able to see them on the field and teach them complete our offensive defense is a little bit of a challenge.
Well, it's also got to be a challenge in what's going on with Belton, that there's a new high school. I know that doesn't really kind of affect you in the immediacy with a lot of the kids this year, but it will. What's it like to be, you know, at the old school while they're open the new school here next year?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm always under the philosophy wherever I'm at, I just worry about myself and what we got, and whatever happens outside. So I'm just concentrating and focusing on our kids, and what we could do to get better and get prepared for the season.
Coach, who are some of your influences? Are there any coaches out there that you've kind of, taken something from here and there that inspire you? Who are some of the influences for you coming up as a coach?
Well, one, Hayden Fry. I was growing up as a young boy in Iowa, and watching Hayden Fry take the Iowa Hawkeyes and make them, nationally prominent. And his philosophy of scratch it where it itches is something that I've taken to heart since I've been coaching. We're going to take whatever our kids do best and make that work. And then in the high school ranks, working under Coach Hume at Clements High School, who's now at Midway, and working with the guys at that staff with Coach Edwards. I was at Harker Heights, Coach Campbell, who's now with me as my offensive coordinator. Those guys, just the way they conduct themselves and treat kids, has been a great influence on my career.
It's a fair question, and it's 75-22 at Ridgepoint. It's a blossoming, massive area of high school football that's growing out its ears in the Houston area. And Belton, a school that's trying to find itself. What was the lure to come to Central Texas and take over a program that needed help?
Well, to be honest with you, I started a program like you talked about Lake Belton, so we started at Ridgepoint. We made it all the way to state semifinals one year and had 5 district titles and the record that you talked about. So I wanted to see if I could come in and change the program, change its mindset, and do it that way as well. And I looked at Belton. It's a great community. They're going to eventually go down to 5A, which is a level I think that anybody in the state could compete at to win a championship. And I just thought it was a great challenge to take. And the facilities at Belton, the people of Belton have been fantastic. They don't want for anything. The community provides everything that's needed. So I just thought that would be a great challenge for me and the coaching staff that I bring in.
I almost feel like I can close my eyes. Not quite. You don't have that twang of a Hayden Fry, but I can almost I can see you almost being that. And to be, I guess, the sponge soaking in the information, understanding him, being there, watching him. You're fortunate, and yet you're not fortunate if you don't take advantage of what you learned, right?
Oh yeah, and that's with anything you do. You make mistakes, and you have to learn from them. And when you watch people, you have to take what works for you, because you still got to be yourself. You can't be somebody else when you're coaching. That was a great advice I got long ago. Don't try to be somebody else. To be yourself, but at the same time, yourself is influenced by many other coaches, and I just like to pay homage to them when I can.
Couple of wins, by the way, in Brett Sniffin's career. The win against Crosby, you busted them 42-14. They were ranked number 2 in the state. You felt like they were probably not respecting you much. What was it? Just chatter before that game, or you just felt like they overlooked you? How did you know that?
Well, it's just kind of funny. We played the week before. We played Port Lavaca Calhoun, and they run that triple option stuff, and that's pretty difficult to stop if you've never seen it. So our defense struggled a little bit, and apparently up in the press box, those guys were laughing at us a little bit when they were scouting us. So, whether that's true or not, or those coaches in the press box were just feeding that to me. We took it and ran with it, and our kids took it with a little chip on their shoulder, and we came out and played a real whale of a game.
Whatever works, right? Whatever can get them motivated. And, of course, you beat Angleton. You stopped them on a 2-point conversion inside the Alamo Dome. Brett, last question for you, and thanks for your time. You guys are in now week 2. You mentioned worked under Jeff Hume, and, of course, Barry Campbell's now with you, who was a part of the staff at Clements. Are you excited about what's going on right now, or are you leery about whether you're going to get to where you need to be to start the season in late August?
Well, obviously I'm leery about it, and we're doing everything we can to follow the guidelines and be as safe as possible, and just hope everybody else in the state of Texas does the same thing so that we can get where we need to be. But at some point, we're going to have one-on-one contact and either push through this or we're going to have to stop, because there is no in between with playing the game of football. That's for sure.
All right, we're going to make something up. He's like, he thinks Midway's dodging him by moving to the district with Duncanville and DeSoto.
I heard that rumor.
Hey, Brett, thank you, man. Haven't met you yet. We love covering high school football. Love Belton, what we're doing there. Thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you again soon.
You bet. I appreciate it.
Brett Sniffen, head coach at Belton. Brian Cope of Lake Belton. And again, they're kind of in a holding pattern in a way. He'll join us tomorrow on the show. Coming up next, Hall of Famer. How many have we had? Like 36 Pro Football Hall of Famers since April the 6th. The next one, Dwight Stevenson, Miami Dolphins, the legend from the Miami Dolphins and Hall of Famer Dwight Stevenson, next on SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, they are continuing to roll out great deals for you, and they are, of course, continuing to take care of their showroom. Buick Encores right now are the perfect crossover SUV with a roomy interior, quiet ride, and they're packed with safety features and the latest technology. And right now you can get a Buick Encore for only $19,900. That means you're saving $6,000 on a 2020 Buick Encore. If you're looking for the ultimate luxury, style, and power in a new SUV, well, don't settle. Drive the Cadillac XT4, XT5, or the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. You can experience the thrill of owning a Cadillac XT4 right now for only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. Get free oil changes with a new purchase, great prices, and in-town priority warranty service whenever you buy a car from Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. Richard Carr Motors are the people you can count on. A local family dealer run by Baylor Bear alumni that wants the chance to earn your business. They disinfect the showroom daily so you can feel safe heading on over to the dealership. Their staff is safety focused as well, but if you're a little leery during these times, they can bring the test drive to your home. Your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them at richardcarr.com or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
Have you ever thought about how great it would feel a month or 6 months or a year from now if you weighed less and were in better shape and more fit than you are today? Think about that. Words can't explain the confidence I have because of what I've experienced and what I continue to experience every day at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. I promise if you join today, you'll thank me later. Offering a variety of different classes, over 40 of them every single week, including boot camp on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. And there's free daycare. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday 5 to 10, Friday 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday 7 to 7. Contact personal trainers Christy London or Randall Corley and let them make you feel better about yourself. Also, world-class tennis facility with Pro Britt Coleman and Director of Adult Tennis and Special Events Joe Rosa. A spacious, clean, and sanitized workout room, no intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an all-new atmosphere that will make you love doing burpees. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio.
Dwight Stevenson was the guy who did some of the things that you just, whoa. To me, Dwight was the best center I've ever seen.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
We'll hear from Hall of Fame center Dwight Stevenson momentarily. That was Matt Millen, who's been on our show a couple of weeks ago. Played with the Raiders, the Redskins, and 49ers, and won Super Bowls. Here's an interesting note as Paul tries to track down Dwight Stevenson. Complex Sports. NBA players will wear a smart ring at Disney. The ring is capable of predicting COVID-19 symptoms up to 3 days in advance with a 90% accuracy. Why don't we make about 370 million of them?
We could. Old Bezos could probably swing that and not even feel it in his pocketbook. But, I would imagine those are pretty expensive items, but that's really cool technology, and it would be great if somehow we could all have those.
Measuring body temperature, respiratory functions, and heart rate. Not once you have it, 3 days in advance, the possibility of predicting symptoms.
That's amazing. What else can it do?
Predict if baseball will ever come to an agreement.
Oh, wow, we really do need these rings.
Yeah.
Regular season. Oh, here we go.
What
rings are available to purchase on it's OURA, Aura Wings Ring website from anywhere between $299 and $399, depending on the make and model.
Well, that's actually not too bad considering what it can do. That's unbelievable. A ring that can do that.
So
by the way, you mentioned the baseball thing. So the owners proposed 60. The players came back with 70. If the owners don't just take 70, what they say? Okay, what about 64? Well, shut up. Just do 70.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we got to that point where they are bickering over even just a single game. I mean, they've whittled it down so much now at this point, and it's just amazing that baseball to me is the most is a story right now that gives me the most tired head thinking about it. But somehow you managed to mention a story earlier in the show that gives me even more tired head that I could care less about, and that was Josh Gordon trying to get reinstated. Because that's just happened so many times now.
Just put it on your calendar in middle of June next year.
But with Gordon, I don't. It's whatever. As far as him playing ever again, I'm past the point of caring there. Good luck to him in life, certainly. But with baseball, I mean, come on, guys, let's just get this thing going already. You can't afford to wait. If they wait another week or two, I mean, who knows what the infection rates look like? They might be getting told, hey, you're not coming back before they even get a chance to decide on whether they're coming back.
I actually think that is
Dwight Stevenson in 5 minutes.
That's one of the things the owners are trying to do. I think they're trying to avoid making an agreement.
Leon, no baseball. I can just repeat, rinse and repeat.
I think they're trying
he hates Dak.
to avoid making an agreement, so then they can say, well, now we can enact this act of God clause, so we don't have to pay you.
Now, this ring. Remember what I said? Why don't they make 370 million of these or whatever? I don't know the name of this Twitter account. It's so like everything consonants, but. So this technology is available, and no one thought to give these to the hardworking people who have risked their lives all quarantine. And again, it's the NBA players. The league can purchase these, and they can afford it. Then, at something stranger, mass population tracking now, covering the agenda with COVID-19 blank.
Oh, well, that's the thing that people say when it comes to any type of new technology. The Amazon products in your home and things like that. There's a lot of people that don't like the feeling of Big Brother spying on them, but that's pretty much out of our control at this point. There's a camera on every corner, whether we like it or not. So you might as well just know that.
I think that's like an ankle bracelet, don't you? The ring.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, yeah. As far as a tracker goes, I guess. I mean, if you're worried about somebody tracking you, then okay, but I'm not. I mean, if I don't know what I'm doing really for anybody to make them want to track me, but there is that Big Brother feeling from a lot of people, especially with what all's going on in the world. That there's some grand conspiracy that's it's whatever.
As you get older, you're even. Outside of quarantine, your movements get pretty sad. Like, oh, if they did me, like they get excited like the once a month, like, oh hey, he went out.
Yeah, he left the house.
But I'm telling you, and I saw I don't know who it was. He covers A&M. Might have been Brent Zimmerman. But I remember one time I saw him. He said he was leaving his house or wherever he lived, and his phone said, "You are 7 minutes away from Kyle Field." And it was not. I'm not saying it wasn't a Saturday morning. Maybe it was, but he had no reminders in his phone.
That does it to me every day I come over here.
I know, and it says you are 12 minutes away from Paul Catalina's your name, your street, which I'll give it the address, but or to HEB.
Yeah.
For some reason, it knows when I'm going to HEB. Of course, I go to HEB a lot.
But I mean, for forever, my phone thought I worked at Sonic. So.
Yeah.
I mean, so
you are 7 minutes away. Leon goes, I'm going to blow your mind with this next one. Leon just plays with us on the text line. This is from the 314. Amen. I wish baseball could just get it together. Josh Gordon can't even stop smoking weed to get in. Although the new rules are legal for players that, haven't tested positive before. Josh has to stay straight. And of course, we know he has been many times in the
This is fifth suspension.
In the portal of bad. Let's see here. They have invented a test to diagnose the coronavirus, but you cannot come up with an antivirus serum. So how do we know that these tests actually are for coronavirus? That's from Leon. From Carl, oh my God, Ricky Slade, 2008 running back recruit in the country, number one running back recruit, officially transfers to Old Dominion from Penn State. What? That's from Carl. If we want to know what's going on at Penn State, Carl, right?
Or anywhere
around Maryland. You want to break and come back with him? Or do you want to?
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's break and come back with Hall of Fame Senator, and we'll have Walter Abercrombie at 4:30. This is SicEm365 Radio.
This is Waco, and this is Hoosers Jewelers. When locals want luxurious jewelry.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
So it's time for us to have a talk because obviously your buddies aren't telling you and neither is your woman. You've been driving that truck around, exposing your stuff. It's not only embarrassing, it's disgusting. I'm talking about full frontal truck nudity, and it's time for you to do something about it with a grill guard or a front-end replacement bumper from Pickup Outfitters. There are lots of good reasons to get a grill guard, like when Bambi decides to cross the road at the same time you're occupying it. But the best reason is that no one wants to see your junk up in your grill. Pickup Outfitters on Lake Erie Drive carries all the major brands of grill guards, including Ranch Hand, Cattleman, and even the Renegade brand made right here in Waco. And every grill guard we sell comes with our lifetime installation guarantee and no-worry warranty program. Won't you help us end truck nudity? Pickup Outfitters, 220 Lake Erie Drive in Waco. Check out our grill guards on our website at createacommotion.com/guards. createacommotion.com/guards.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
You look at decorated players in NFL history. Dwight Stevenson, just named recently one of the 100th anniversary team in the NFL, Pro Football Hall of Fame, won the national title twice, played at Alabama, All-Pro, first team 5 times. It's just about every man of the year, which is huge as well. And Hall of Famer Dwight Stevenson joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Was there ever a time, Dwight, first of all, thank you so much for being a part of our show. Was there ever a time that you won so much that you kind of became numb to it?
Winning so much. Now, first of all, I'm very happy to be here, and thanks for all the nice things you just said there and stuff. But you said numb to winning. I tell you what, I cherish all the winning because I don't want to be on the other side and stuff. You work hard and you got to feel fortunate, and you got to be almost like I guess I don't know. I'm anxious or scared or whatever that I would be in a losing situation or on a losing team. And that's something that I always worked at and had the right kind of people around me and everything, and things have gone well as far as on the football field.
Dwight, you're from Hampton, Virginia, which is a hotbed of football talent, even to this day. It's got a great tradition there. You played for Bear Bryant and you played for Don Shula. Did you ever have a bad coach ever in your life?
I tell you, in the area of coaching, I think I've been spoiled. To have Coach Don Shula, in the pros that was just awesome. And we just saw Coach Shula, and I don't know what South Florida's like without him and stuff. And he's going to be missed. He's bigger than South Florida. I mean, Coach Shula was a great man and did a whole lot for the community, the National Football League, and we're going to be missing. We're going to miss him. And then before that, I played for Coach Paul Bear Bryant, again, another giant, and just two awesome people that knew how, I think, to make the people around them better. And that's one thing I think that most players say about playing for Coach Shula, that he made us better. He made us better as people, as better football players. And Coach Bryant absolutely said the same thing has been said by many players, that he made them better players and he made them a better human being as well. So, great people.
What was being recruited by Bear Bryant like? I mean, there's obviously the pull and the tradition of Alabama, but outside of that, what was that recruitment process like?
I mean, that was awesome. I mean, Coach Bryant, bigger in life. And when I came out of high school, I wasn't highly recruited. I mean, I had about 5 or 6 offers. And Alabama they came in there at the end, and they really came to my high school interested in 2 other gentlemen that were there and stuff. I mean, 2 great football players, Woodrow Wilson and Simon Guthrie. And both of those guys, all 3 of us went to visit Alabama, and I thought all 3 of us might go to Alabama. And they ended up deciding to go to NC State, and they went there, had a tremendous college career, and then I went down to Alabama. And but Coach Bryant, he was a guy that, he knew how to recruit you. And when he told you something, he talked about your family. He talked about the things that you could do, on the football field as well as, after football. And it was just a great experience being recruited by Coach Bryant. Just a good man.
We had an audio clip from Matt Millen, who won numerous Super Bowls with the Raiders, 49ers, and Redskins. And there was a comment where he called you the best center he'd ever seen. And, of course, Bear Bryant called you the best center he had ever coached as a man among boys. Did you feel like that? Did you feel that dominant when you played the game?
At times, you see the things happen out there on the football field, and man, you feel pretty good about yourself. But that I always felt and very anxious, that thing could turn and go the other way. So I was never ever feeling like I was the best out there and stuff like that. And although I wanted to be the best, and I really appreciate when people say like, "Oh, well, you're the best center," so forth and so on. Those things they mean a lot to me. But I don't think I ever felt or really say, "Hey, I'm the best." I feel as though I'm the best player at this position right here, and I go out here and I can relax and feel comfortable. No, I always had that edge. I was always trying to work to be the best that I could be at that position.
You were with the Dolphins right before Dan Marino got there, and then he gets there, and things really changed. What was that like when you drafted generational talent like that?
That was Dan was a career changer, team changer. He came in, and you knew he was you could see he had talent. I mean, he was a good athlete. I mean, Dan could do a lot of things and stuff. And then you go with the football in his hands. It was just amazing, and the people around him felt as though that he could do some great things. He could, on the football field. But Dan is one of the hardest working guys that you ever want to be around. He's going to be one of the first guys on the field and one of the last guys to leave the field. He would, he made the guys out there, the wide receivers and stuff. They just worked well together. I mean, he placed the ball so only they could catch the ball, and if it wasn't going to be caught, it'd be, incomplete. I mean, he was just and just some of the things that he saw, some of the things he saw on the football field. Now, I can remember we were going to play the Chicago Bears, and before the game, and he was, talking to me, and him. We had about a few minutes, a couple of minutes or a minute together. He said, "Dwight, you know what? This defense is perfect for us." And I'm like, he said, "You know what? This defense that was terrorizing the National Football League," he said, "This defense is perfect." He said, "If you guys give me some time, and I know where the free man is coming from, because they always, if you kept 5 guys in the block, they send 6. If you kept 6 in, they send 7. So it was like always a free man. And those guys out there, the wide receiver and whatnot, they need to get open right now. But now they needed a guy that could put the ball on the money, and that was Dan Marino. And we had the wide receivers like Nat Moore and Mark Duper, Mark Clayton, and we gave him some time. To tell you what, it worked out that night, and so he saw that, and I was like, man, how are we going to protect them? How are we going to keep them upright? This bear defense is something that we have to be concerned about. But anyway, things went out there that night, and we went out there tonight, and things went well for us and stuff. And Marino and the guys, wide receivers, they had a great night, and the rest is history. We won the game.
As one of the best to ever do it, just in football, but in particular at your position, what are the keys to being great at the center position?
And, I don't think you have to be. Some guys think you have to be. Size is important, but you don't want to be too big. I think quickness is one of the biggest things at that position. There, you need to snap the ball, and that needs to be secondary. You don't even think about snapping the ball, and you moving, and I think quickness, and you have to have a good balance. You have to have good balance there, and you also have to be have strength there. You can't be a weak guy and then super strength. You don't, but it's all about, to me, I think it's more like delivering the blow instead of letting people hit you. You hit them and don't absorb the blow. And that's a pass protection. You might absorb some, but you can't lunge at the person, but you got a little 6-inch punch or whatever. And, ward the guy off some, and then you get them under control and know where your quarterback is going to be and that sort of thing. And, and you work well with the other linemen there, too, to protect the quarterback. So,
Alabama. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Alabama football has had the great names and coaches. Bear Bryant, obviously. Now it's Nick Saban. Gene Stallings won a national championship. They've had others that there's a reason why Alabama has as many as pretty much everybody else, if not more. Your thoughts about what Nick Saban has done in the decade? I don't know if it's been quite a decade for him. I know there's been some disappointments recently because the standard is set so high, but what he's created at Alabama at a level he's done.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys, people that make people better around him. He's got the players to come in there. They expect certain things. He expects certain things out of himself. Those players to go to another school, I think, and I don't know if they would ever think the way they would think there. We'll be working at trying to be the best they could be, trying to really play for the national championship. They're not playing to win the Southeast Conference. I mean, they want to play for the national championship every year. And to do that, you got to be the best. And that means that, you have to get your schoolwork. You have to work at it. And you're going to come up against teams that are going to come out there and they're going to be better prepared in a certain area. I mean, you got to be prepared in so many areas, and you got to be able to accept the challenges, realizing that there's going to be some ups and downs in situations, and you got to play through them and stuff, and don't get overwhelmed by situations, and just stick to what you believe, and that is, what we're going to do what we do. We're not going to change our game just because we fall behind a little bit or whatever stuff, and they kind of stick to their plan. And I think there's, they come in there in their condition and they think a different way. I think that's important.
Brian Flores, now the head coach the last couple of years in Miami, your old team, and they drafted another Crimson Tide with Tua Tagovailoa. What do you think about the future of the Dolphins? That's been since Coach Shula left, pretty rough.
Yeah, you know what? It really has. Sometimes when someone comes up and they're like 20, 25, and they say, well, the Dolphins, have always been not a good football team. And I'm like, and I have to think about it. I guess in the last few years, 20 years, we haven't done a whole lot. We should be playing with it. We want to play again for to get into the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. That's what the Miami Dolphins. That's where I always look at it. The Miami Dolphins when I came here and stuff. That would be what I was excited about. That old man, Coach Shula, Super Bowl. We were planning on going there, and we did. We went there twice, and two great opportunities, and blew them both. But and I think now that the Miami Dolphins down here, I think the future is very, very bright. I think the Coach Flores is absolutely doing a great job. I like the way we didn't win a whole lot of football games, but I like the way that the team is being built. And I like the way it's being pushed, to be the best and building, not going out and trying to load up with a whole lot of players and stuff, and he's building a team, and he wants the people that want to be here to be here, and they're going to work to stay here and stuff. And I think he's got an exciting guy. I think he has some good players. Again, he's building character. He has character, and the team is going to have his type of character, and he wants players like that. And I think the Tua is going to be a great addition. I think he's a legit superstar, and he hasn't thrown a pass in a game yet. But I think he's going to be a real superstar in the National Football League. I think he's a guy that, again, he doesn't get overwhelmed by himself. I think the situation here, he's going to handle it. I think he's going to go out on the football field and do a great job. And I think he's also going to do a good job in the community. I think he's the kind of guy that's going to be active in the community, giving back to the community. And I think I've seen some examples of that already where, he's doing scholarships and so forth or something like that. But he's going to be good all the way around for South Florida.
Dwight Stevenson, Hall of Fame center, with us on SicEm365 Radio. One of the businesses during the country being shut down a little bit during COVID was that seems to have continued on and done well is the construction business. And you run a construction company. Were you guys, was everything, I guess, has everything been good despite some of the things going on?
We're just like everybody. We want to be safe. I mean, you try to, you stress to people, the point of being safe, is washing your hands, wearing the mask, and that's required on our jobs. We, and the safe distancing is something that we practice. And if there's someone that's on a job in the construction industry down here, they pretty much right then they ask that person to go home and get tested and so forth and so on. So, but the industry is I think they really practice trying to be safe. I've heard a few jobs that was shut down maybe because it was a few guys contaminated on the job site, but we've been fortunate and that no one's been to the point where we had to shut a job down here. So, that we're involved with. And but we, just like everybody else is working at, we work at trying to be safe.
Dwight, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Stay safe. We appreciate you and an amazing career. Good luck with your business and life, and thanks for your time.
You got it, all right, buddy.
Dwight Stevenson, Hall of Fame center, Miami Dolphins, Alabama, won 2 national titles, with us on SicEm365 Radio. It may be the best center to ever play the game, and, of course, that's always very arguable and debatable, like anything else, whatever position in sport.
His little time was perfect. Yeah. I mean, once he started, he just never stopped.
When we come back, Walter Abercrombie. Talk about someone who was really good at University High, Baylor, the story about Grant Taft and them playing A&M on the road and how he just stuck him in the game. And his time in the NFL with the Steelers in the 1 year with Philadelphia and now running the Baylor Letterman's Association. Walter Abercrombie next on SicEm365 Radio. Right now at Pickup Outfitters, they have what you need to protect the bed of your pickup truck if, in fact, your pickup truck does not have a cover. Security, by having a bed cover, it helps keep things secure from anyone who might just happen to see something in your pickup bed and they want it. Locking bed covers for almost every truck, secure to make sure that your bed cover is locked. Nobody can open it up. And you cannot open the bed cover if your tailgate is locked anyway. Sheltering from sun, the dust, the rain, the wind, and much more. Whatever you have inside the pickup truck or the bed. Privacy. If it's covered, nobody knows what's inside the bed. Extra space and storage. Not enough room for the cab or in the cab of your pickup truck. Put it in the bed. Keep the wind from blowing it away with a bed cover. They have hard folding, one-piece lids, hard, soft roll-up, removable, paint to match, retractable. By the way, covering to fit any budget and any size. And, of course, if professionally installed by Pickup Outfitters, a lifetime installation guarantee and free warranty. For over 20 years, Pickup Outfitters serving Waco at 220 Lake Air Drive. They have WeatherTech and Husky Exact fit floor liners. Buy the front ones. Get the second row for 30% off. Free delivery anywhere in McLennan County. Jay Ehret, the president. Most items delivered to you the very next business day. It's Pickup Outfitters online, createacommotion.com, 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
This is Waco, and this is Boozer's Jewelers. When locals want luxurious jewelry and at a competitive price, they come here. This is Brad Boozer. He's the owner of Boozer's Jewelers. Boozer's is the premier wedding ring store. They specialize in loose diamonds and wedding rings. At Boozer's, they have 7 jewelry counters dedicated to wedding rings and diamonds only. They also specialize in heirloom jewelry, custom jewelry, watches, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Stop on in today and discover why the locals trust Boozer's for their jewelry.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
These make a great pair. Each are phenomenal bargains from Allen Samuels. The new 2020 Jeep Cherokee and new 2019 Dodge Journey. Save thousands now as we drive forward into summer. Journey, the great American crossover with third row seating, just $16,995 for select qualified buyers. And the Go Anywhere Jeep Cherokee, just $29.90 and eligible for first responder $500 bonus cash. Journey, Jeep Cherokee, summer bargains from Allen Samuels.
Ask for details.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
This is SicEm365 Radio. This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
All right, we continue here in this 4 o'clock hour, SicEm365 Radio. Thanks to Hall of Famer Dwight Stevenson. Appreciate his time. At 5 o'clock, Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com, will join us. And we're now joined by one of the best people ever in Walter Abercrombie, BU Letterman's Association, also former University of High, Baylor, and Pittsburgh Steelers star as well, with us on SicEm365 Radio. Hey, by the way, yeah, Walter's one of those that sent one of those nice texts back in the day, back when we were going through a little bit of stuff. And we really always appreciate your support during these last couple of months. How have you been, Walter?
I've been doing okay, man. I'm trying to stay healthy and safe during the COVID-19 virus. And I've just been catching up on stuff around the house and trying to get a little bit of work done whenever I can.
I had somebody want me to ask you this question on the text line that we have. What was it like to be drafted to replace Franco Harris?
You know, I get that question a lot, man. It's one of those very, very difficult assignments, you know, in our lives. You know, a lot of us come to the point where, you know, okay, you've got to fill in some big shoes And those of us who have been in that situation know that's almost an impossible task. To have to follow Franco was just nearly impossible. But what I got out of that though is I got a chance to know him, and I got a chance to be around some of those great Hall of Famers that played in the dynasty in the 1970s. And so, Franco taught me a lot about the game of football, how to stay healthy, and extend your career. And you just couldn't have found a classier guy. So if I had to replace a guy, that was the guy to replace because he was just so gracious and he was so good about it. He knew he was at the end of his career, but man, I had a tough time reaching the status that he did, but it was an honor to try to fill in his shoes.
Walter, we just had Dwight Stevenson. He had a cool coach combination of Bear Bryant and then Don Shula. You had one too with Coach Taft and then Coach Knoll, Chuck Knoll, right there back to back. What was the transition like there, and were they similar at all, Coach Taft and Coach Knoll?
They were a little bit. They were both sort of cerebral type of coaches. Chuck didn't really get heavy-handed into the real coaching of the players, and Coach Taft didn't either. But I think the respect that all of us had for Grant Taft at Baylor, I saw that same player respect for Chuck Knoll when I got to Pittsburgh, and so for that, and that was a huge thing because if you're playing for a coach that you don't respect, it's hard to have a team attitude and play together as a team because there's always disruptions and problems. But we didn't have that at Baylor, and we didn't really have it at Pittsburgh. And so I had the benefit of that as a pro player and as a college player. I know that's true because I've heard other players from other teams tell me, give me an example of when it's not that way. So, no, we were very fortunate, man.
Walter, as somebody whose career, has been over for quite some time now, how often do you still reflect back on your playing days? And when you do, is there a moment, memory, person, et cetera, that comes up more often than not?
It's funny. It's funny. Probably like in a lot of things in life, you think about those special moments with your friends and you share with your teammates, and not too much about the battle in the heat of the battle. But one of the things that I'll share this with you, Dave. We used to play a game called Boo Ray. It's a card game that we played on the plane when we go to visit to away games, and I mean, we played for $1 a game or something like that, and it got so. It would get so heated, during the course of the game. And, of course, you'd get guys who were making hundreds of thousands of dollars, getting highly upset over losing $6 in a Boo Ray game. But that's how competitive these guys were. And I remember times like that because we bonded over that. And then the times when my rookie season, when all of the running backs on the team had me take them out to the most expensive restaurant in the city to buy them all dinner, and and then these expensive bottles of champagne. And I tell you, we'll walk away to a huge bill that night. I remember that, and it's funny now. So those are the things that I remember, not so much the football game.
Were you sweating when the bill showed up?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Because I would tell you, I had never spent that much in my life up to that point because, I'm still a rookie. And I think probably my most expensive bill that I ever got was from Leslie's Fried Chicken over there in East Waco when I fed the offensive line one year.
Well, what was that bill?
Yeah.
Less than 25, 30 bucks?
I think it was $25.
That's how much the glasses were to take the that poured in the champagne in.
Yeah.
Oh. Craig Smoke.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Walter Abercrombie. I got to say this to you, and I'm not saying it because you're on the show. I'll say this to you anyway. When you think about people who have represented themselves great, and well, and they're known as a gentleman. And I hear this from a lot of different people. What does that mean to you when they mention that about Walter Abercrombie?
Well, I have a saying that when I'm at my best, I'm a reflection of my father. And every time I hear that, I think about Reverend Abercrombie, who was my dad, and the sort of influence that he had in my life, and in teaching me to be humble, be a human being, to love others, and just never get caught up in yourself. And so I thank him for that, because it's helped shape who I am today. And I've made a lot of friends because of that. And I've enjoyed our friendship and the love that we share, whether they be teammates or classmates at Baylor or just my neighbors. And so I'm thankful, man, that I had the kind of parents and fathers to help shape who I am today. Thank you, Smoke.
You're welcome, and that's from a lot of other people as well. Now, you do run the Letterman's, the B Association. You have the Hall of Fame. You're the executive director, which says quite a bit about you. You've stayed in Waco, other than when you played with the Steelers and the Eagles. And you're talking about there's a lot of people who are very successful who are up for the annual award, right? Of being inducted. How difficult can that sometimes be? Because there's so many that feel like they probably deserve to be a part of that Hall of Honor.
Well, as an athlete, all of athletics is full of egos, and those who have accomplished some things in their career. I know that many of them feel like they belong in the Hall of Fame, and the problem is there's only a few choices that you can select each year. And every 10 years, there's a whole nother group of people becoming eligible. Every year. So, you have to be out 10 years before you can be considered. But it is really difficult to answer your question because what has happened in the last, I would say the last 20 years, we've seen Baylor Athletics take a tremendous turn to where we have teams that are competing at the highest level, national champions we have at Baylor. And so several all-conference, just all-Americans. There are more of them. And so the people who are becoming eligible, it's just so many of them. It's hard to only get in eight a year, which is what our limit is. So we have some hurt feelings, but I always tell folks, Smoke, I always say, just hang in there. We're going to get around to you. And so I fully believe that. It's always just somebody's always disappointed, but the committee, I have to say, every year the committee gets it right.
I was on my laptop when I saw the release of the next class, and obviously Jason Smith, there were names on there that everyone could recognize, but the name that popped up to me was Andrew Mellentree. I was at Tyler Junior College when he was there at TJC, and then he, of course, came to Baylor. We had him on that day. I called him like almost immediately. I had to kind of search for a number, and you helped me a little bit. But I don't know if that's the kind of expression you talk about. Just wait, and here's a guy that played back in the early '80s, I guess it was. And you get the reaction. What kind of reaction? Did you talk to him? Was you the one that called Mellentree to tell him he made it?
Yeah, I did, and I called him. And now you understand he had been on the list of consideration folks to consider for 2 or 3 years, and so and he knew he had been under consideration. So the first year he got considered, he didn't make it, and he called me, and he was just like, "Oh man, I'm so disappointed." Second year, he was waiting with anticipation to be selected, didn't make it, and so it became one of these things where he thought, man, he had to start second guessing himself, like maybe I wasn't that good or what. But I told him, and I said, just hang in there, Tree. I've been in these meetings. I know how they go. Your day's gonna come. And so when I did call him, oh my God, Oh my God, he was beside himself. And you know how true he is. He's got a personality the size of the city, and he was just so thankful, man. And it was the best day of his life. He said he and his wife were sitting there when I was talking to him, and you could just hear them together, but just being jubilant over the fact that he had reached probably one of his top goals in his life, having come from, a junior college to make it all the way to a D1 Athletic Hall of Fame. So kudos to Andrew. I love that guy.
Yeah, he was
very, very cool.
So real.
That's very cool. Hey, Walter, I know things have been weird because of COVID-19, and it hadn't exactly been, normal for anybody or anything for that matter. But, Dave Aranda has the most non-normal first year's head coach maybe anybody's ever have. Have you had an opportunity to really talk with him much? Or I know the interactions have probably been low considering that everybody's been kind of separated. But do you have any initial thoughts on just Dave Aranda and him taking over?
Well, I had the great fortune of being in on the search committee, and to interview him when he was applying for the job, and so I got to see a side of him that most of us haven't seen, and I know just from his track record and what others have said about him, he is one heck of a coach. The players seem to love him, and I'll tell you, this is a weird deal with the COVID-19, the global pandemic that's going on right now. It has disrupted everything they do, and nobody's ever gone through this before. So I do notice, though, that they seem to be having some success still recruiting, and that is amazing. It's a testament to him and his organizational skills and the people he has on his staff. But my goodness, we just don't know how this is going to turn out. They're not going through normal practices like they would normally do. And so for a first-year coach, having to follow in the footsteps of Matt Rule, oh my gosh, how do you do that? And I think that we've got a guy that can do it. It's just going to be very challenging for him because he's going to have to hit the ground running. People are going to expect a lot from him. And so it's going to take a little bit of managing expectations, a little bit. So that's ahead of us. And man, I'm telling you, I think we got the right guy to lead our program.
That's pretty cool to be a part of the search committee like that. And I know it's not just two people. And we've heard Mac Rhodes talk about him before. The responsibility of being a part of that? That's your school. I mean, this is your city. You went to University High and had a great career there as well. What's that like to kind of have the know? And how many people are digging at you and trying to get information out of you that they're trying to around the rest of the city?
Oh man, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You described it perfectly. Everybody's trying to get at you. I mean, Walt, what can you tell us? Walt, where are we, man? Who got here? And some of the things that you hear, some of the rumors are just absolutely out of this world. I mean, there's no way any of this stuff is true, but everybody's got little rumors that they've heard from this source and that source. So, but it was extremely privileged for me just to be part of that whole process, and really most of my friends, I got to be honest with you, most of them understood. Hey man, I just cannot. This is just too much at stake. These coaches' livelihoods, they don't want the word to get out, that they're interviewing and so forth. So, I think I got a pass, to be quite honest with you, from some of my friends who were, just trying to get, hey, bro, can you help me? Hey, bro. Well, tell me, what can you tell me? So they knew I couldn't do it, so they gave me a pass.
Yeah. Well, you're a good dude to have on that committee and representing what you have in Waco, Baylor, University High, NFL, and also just what you do with the Lettermans and the BU Association is fantastic. Walter, thank you so much. We had Rodney Smith on. If you don't mind, one more question. We had Rodney Smith on earlier this week. You know that University High was through a difficult time. he has at least gotten them to the point where they're winning some games. Your thoughts about Rodney, former Baylor guy as well, and trying to turn things around at University High?
I'm going to tell you something about Rodney. I've known Rodney since he was a high school quarterback and a pretty darn good basketball player over university. And I got to know him. Of course, he's married to the beautiful All-American track Hall of Famer, formerly Stacey Bowers. And I've known that family and them for a while. Got to know Rodney. And if there's anybody, and I mean this, if there's anybody, that kid has been a winner all his life. He's succeeded in just about everything he's ever tried. And so if there's anybody that can win and put the program together at University High School, it's Rodney Smith. I've seen him go from football to basketball to football coach to basketball coach, and he just seems to excel. And he's kind of got it, with those players. He relates well to them. And if those players will just believe in him, trust him, and let him lead them, I think that he'll turn that program around. And all of us who are Trojans, for life, will be proud of what he's done over there.
Thank you, Walter. We appreciate it. Of course, stuck right in the game by Coach Taft. What was it, 78 against A&M? You just like a
1978. Oh yeah,
yeah, just boom, and the rest is history. Established a record for running in a game and all that. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate what you represent. We hope to see you at an event sometime soon in Waco, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Smoke. You and Paul, I love you guys, man. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. That's Walter Abercrombie with Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, David Smoke, and Deontay Epps on SicEm365 Radio. Anything else from that?
No, I just saw this tweet from Colt and Zach Barnett from Football Scoop, who have we had him on the show yet? I know we used to on the other station.
I don't think since we started, no.
This tweet just says, tests of 13,000 protesters in 3 different cities found roughly 1% were positive for the virus, to suggest going to football games will be safe as long as spectators wear a mask, which for some reason there's just a pocket of people who, man, they do not want to wear those masks. And I don't know what it is, why that is for some people, to each their own. But the one thing that I've seen that's going to be like the one thing that we can do outside of social distancing is to wear masks. And so, in Japan, you should know the Japanese, they are very, no coronavirus even existing, they're still wearing masks in public a lot of times because they're very polite. And so if a Japanese person even has so much as like a cold, they will wear those masks so as to not spread it. That's the politeness of their society. But mask wearing is regular there, and they just recently opened back up their big wrestling company, New Japan, and I can guarantee you when they put fans back in the audience, I will bet anything that every single person in that audience, and they won't have a problem doing it, will have a mask on. And that's just the way that culture is, and they usually handle things pretty well. So mask wearing is going to be, something that we'll likely see become mandatory. I've already seen a couple of towns that have started to make it a mandatory thing. So, we'll see. But maybe we have a lot of people in the stands. They're just all wearing masks this season. But I just hope we have people in the stands.
I just think it's a pretty small price to pay.
True.
It really is. I know, but I've seen people who they will not wear a mask for whatever reason, and it's not like it hurts.
I don't know. I don't get it either, but
it's kind of annoying. It means you're going to have to brush your teeth better than you have probably.
You just smell your own breath, which could be a good thing.
Yeah. So I don't see the drawback to it. Maybe
I would love to know what the drawback is, because I don't know either. But, just there's some people who don't want to wear them. So.
I have a friend from high school. She's a lawyer in Gainesville, and her social media is she is sued and won successfully in Gainesville that she has clients that she says that shouldn't have to wear a mask because they've got medical reasons not to, which I don't know what those would be, but I'm not a doctor.
I haven't worn it. I mean, I on occasion, very rarely, I haven't. And it's not. There's also some that you're telling me what to do. Now I'm not. Even though in Japan, when I lived there in the 70s, I thought then that the reason why you saw a lot of people, and I lived there for 4 years, around Japan wear masks was because of the smog, the pollution, because there's a big city growing very fast. And then obviously a lot of them are wearing it not so they won't catch what you have, but vice versa. They won't give you perhaps something they have. I see now, I'll tell you this, I don't go a lot of places, but I see now more people wearing it than I did prior to George Floyd and the protest and all that. I'm talking about, it's kind of like we've been in 3 different time periods here. COVID, George Floyd and the reaction, and then now COVID. And I see many more people wearing masks now than I saw before, let's say a month ago.
Yeah, I see more, and I think it's going to just have to be something if the cases continue to spike like they are. I mean, we are looking at historical numbers, and I'm not trying to whip anybody into a frenzy over that. I'm just stating the obvious that, it may have to become a mandatory thing because there's not too many options to otherwise curb anything. So if it's social distancing or if it's wearing a mask, I mean, that's really the only things that we can do. And, the social distancing, I think, has gone pretty well for the most part, although that's closed down a little just because things have opened back up. But the mask may be the only alternative that they have to just put that in place at businesses and say, hey, and then some businesses have. There's actually a petition somebody started to require HEB to make it mandatory. So I don't know if the company will respond to that, but, there's a movement for that. So we'll see. And, the other thing about the Japanese culture and mask is, they had to deal with bird flu. They had to deal with SARS. They had to deal with some things like this previously back in the early 2000s that didn't maybe so much hit us close to home or on a high level, but they've had their history with it, and this is a byproduct of that history. So we'll see if it's something that becomes more common around here as well.
David, or D. Carter, on my Twitter direct message. Let's see here. Does Paul remember how hot it was the first part of the season? That mask is going to be a righteous pain. But if I have to wear, I will wear. I just won't like it. Yeah. Everyone has an opinion on it, whether you should wear one or not. And I know that sometimes I get suggestions and stuff like that. And it's because people care. It's not because they're trying to be, like pushy or anything like that. All right, when we come back, we'll wrap. Oh, this is the end of the 4 o'clock hour. When we come back to 5 o'clock hour, Mickey Spagnola will join us from DallasCowboys.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.CamilleJohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. And order 30-pound bags of live crawfish by noon on Thursday and pick up on Friday to enjoy the weekend. Live crawfish available right now. And Waco Custom Marketplace doors are open for business Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5. And crawfish boil boxes available as well. Make your order for live crawfish by noon on Thursday. Pick up on Friday for the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh kolache, cinnamon rolls, and baked bread daily. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, and house-cured and smoked bacon. Spices, seasonings, soup mixes, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Waco Custom Marketplace. Doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5. 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Hi, this is Tristan Abrams, Mahia High School head football coach, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of SicEm365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneerboys.com.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com.
Prescott in trouble. And wide open. And now the foot race. The former Ram. Austin for the touchdown.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers. Staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
PGA Tour week number 2 since they've resumed the RBC Heritage. Ian Poulter right now is at the top of the leaderboard along with Mark Hubbard. They're both in the clubhouse at 700. Jordan Spieth played well the first round at 500 par, among some others. We'll give you Daniel Berger, who won last week, is at 400. Bruce Koepka, 2 Florida State guys at 400 par. Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. So how much does Jamal Adams bring to the table? You know that this is going to dominate, Mickey, the next 24-hour news cycle. He says he wants to be traded. Everyone knows that people love to attach him to the Cowboys. What happens here in your opinion?
Yeah, I have no idea because the ball's in the Jets' court, right? They're in charge, not him. You know, I read where he officially requested a trade. What is that? You send a letter to the league? I want to get traded?
He's in the transfer portal.
I mean, come on. These guys kill me. Yeah, he wants to be traded, but he also wants the highest paid contract of any safety out there, which is why he hasn't signed yet with the Jets. And I'm sure that demand's not going to change when I look at this list. The Ravens, Cowboys, Texans, Chiefs, Eagles, 49ers, or Seahawks. What, he doesn't want to go? He doesn't want to go to the Bears?
He didn't throw somebody like the Bucks or I
think you missed the 85 Bears.
Yeah,
he said I want to go play for the 85.
Right. Well, he don't want to go to the Dolphins. The 72 Dolphins were good. You know, it's like he picked all those teams. You know, I want to be traded. I want to either go to the Washington Post, the New York Times. You know, come on, are you serious?
Mickey.
But yeah, you're right. And it is going to dominate because it's going to get everybody excited. And you know the Jets aren't going to give him away. They have his rights for 2 more years.
Yeah, Mickey, I think it'd be pretty interesting to just take the positions the Cowboys are deficient at, look at the guys who are up for contracts and have maybe requested trades or like floated it out. And if all those guys wound up with the Cowboys, what kind of 53-man roster you could have if all that came to fruition, it's silly how agents will just go, well, the Cowboys. I mean, of course he's interested in the Cowboys, because then it seems to make everybody else go crazy.
Well, it's an age-old trick, guys, because back in the 90s when guys started to become free agents, it was like, yeah, the Cowboys are interested. And then I go check around and it's like, we didn't talk to them, but it's an agent deal because, boy, if the Cowboys want them, we better get off our horse and get going and sign this guy. So, yeah, there's 7 teams there. But again, can I give up a third for him?
Well,
probably not, huh?
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing, is that you cannot have a Pro Bowler at every position. That would be nice, but eventually you got to have, I've always said this, even back in the mid-90s, the Cowboys had Dion, and they wanted everybody that became a Pro Bowler that wanted to, sign everybody. And you just cannot do that. What is it true, Mickey? Do you know, if you could wrap your hands around that, back in the fall of last year, the Cowboys offered the Jets a first-round pick and a player? Do you know if that's even possible or true?
I don't know about the player part. I think they did at one point. I think it was during the draft. We're willing to do that. But the Jets wanted the first and the second. And, they wanted a player. Well, who do they want? Did they want Anthony Brown? Probably not, huh? So, and I understand where the Jets are right now, because things have just gotten complicated with what's going to happen with this season. What's going to happen with the revenue, and how do you structure a contract for next year? Because there's a good chance the salary cap could go down instead of go up, and there's going to be a lot of panic going on in this league if that salary cap goes down. Because when you structure contracts, and you get to 2021, well, you're figuring, well, okay, I can give them this because the salary cap's been going up $10 million a year. Well, what if it goes down $20 million? There's going to be a lot of teams scrambling. So that's another factor in these contract negotiations. And as you've seen, I don't know how far back we got to go that somebody sign a big contract. It's been months, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it sure hasn't been here, right, with Dak. That hadn't gotten done. And now we're, less than a month away from the deadline for a long-term deal.
Yeah, Mickey, with that, how much do you think that will maybe push guys like Dak to sign that one-year franchise thing? Because this might be complicating things more than we'll know until it's actually revealed to us.
No, I'll tell you what it would push me to do if I was in his shoes. I'd be signing a long-term deal and get my $50 million in the bank right now on a signing bonus. Because if I sign that deal for a franchise tag, say what happens if the first 4 games of the season get canceled? I'm getting paid week by week. I don't know if you're not playing a game, the NFL is going to say, well, yeah, we canceled 4 games, but you got to pay the players. I don't think it would work that way. So to me, I'd be signing that long-term deal and take my $50 million and put it in the bank tomorrow, especially in this economy with everybody struggling. At least I know I've been paid, and I've almost been paid 2 years' worth in one day.
Mickey, on the franchise tag, that's what I want to ask you about, because there's not confusion, but I always like to make sure we don't just take things for granted. If, in fact, he was to get the franchise tag, he gets that money, he's guaranteed that money, whether he plays, they have to play the season. But no matter what, but he gets paid week to week, but no money up front?
That's exactly right. So each week, the way most guys get paid, if they don't on their base salaries, you get 1/17 of your salary each week, and that includes the bye week. So that's how you get paid. So that's how you get paid on the franchise tag. That's why players don't like the franchise tag. You're guaranteed that money, but what if you get hurt? What if you get hurt and miss 8 games? And what if you're not ready to start the next season and you're a free agent? Well, your marketing value goes way down. So to me, for security's sake, I'd be signing a long-term deal. Now, it worked for Kirk Cousins because he did it 2 years in a row, made his money, and then turned it into a 3-year, $84 million contract with Minnesota. But what happens if he had gotten hurt? What if you don't have guarantees? What if you get an Alex Smith injury? And now the team goes, okay, well, that was the 1 year, and I'm not sure we want to bring you back. And who's going to go and pay you big bucks? So, to me, money in the bank means a lot more than getting more money, possibly down the road after I've been franchised. So, from what I can tell, the long-term deal the Cowboys offered him seems fair. Now, I don't know how it's all structured and where the guarantees are, but if it's close to what Russell Wilson's making, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And so, and I understand, we say Dak, it's Dak's people. I'm sure, what they're trying to do is say, hey, look, I got the highest contract of any quarterback in the league when you're looking for the next big client who's a quarterback.
Paul, I saw with the 49ers, did you see this? Deebo Samuel broke a foot.
Oh, that breaks my heart. You know what? After watching Deebo play in college and whip Missouri's butt every time they played him, Deebo was my guy, and I was sitting there going, oh, man, if he laughs and the Cowboys can get Deebo, and he had a really good rookie year, that's a blow to the 49ers. And, that's kind of – I compared CeeDee Lamb to my man Deebo. He could do a little bit of everything, and you couldn't catch him. And I got reminded of how good that is. And I saw yesterday, you guys, it was the 50th anniversary of Brian Piccolo passing away, 1970 with the Chicago Bears. And so I had to do it. I had to go back and probably for the 10th time watch Brian's song. Well, part of that movie, which was made for TV, by the way, had actual footage of Gale Sayers running with the football. Oh, my goodness. He was just amazing. How he would pull away from people, and they would be right next to him.
Yep.
And that was at a time growing up in Chicago. I wasn't a Bears fan. I was a Packers fan. And I dreaded the day they had to play against the Bears because they could not stop him. They could not catch him. And that's what these guys do, and I'm sure that's what the Cowboys are hoping they can get from CeeDee Lamb.
Mickey, thank you very much. We appreciate you as always. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week and possibly earlier.
All right. Anytime. Let me know.
Mickey Spagnola with us on Thursdays. Mickey moved around a little bit because of our conversations with Dwight Stevenson, the Hall of Famer, and also Walter Abercrombie. And Deebo Samuel, broke a bone. It was a Jones fracture, which is
that takes a bit.
Yeah, but
I think he has a bit.
Yeah, he might have more than just 3 months. It'd be 2.5 months for the season begins. Various reports say that he'll still be back by week 1, but who knows? He's in Nashville playing, working out. So it's weird. How many? I remember when Sean Lee went down during. Was that during a mini camp or during training camp?
Yeah, it was during mini camp.
Yeah,
a non-contact drill. He just goes.
When was the last time the Cowboys lost a player outside of training camp or later, during now?
I don't know.
Was Sean Lee?
Yeah, Sean Lee. Romo was during training camp, last preseason game.
Of course, Frederick was something that they didn't, that just was a unique. But it's weird, like Philadelphia, Brandon Brooks out. I mean, here's why I think if that would have been Washington, and of course still have their injuries, they always do. If that would have been the Cardinals, if that would have been, name another,
Buccaneers.
Buccaneers.
Yeah.
But these are two teams that you think are going to be good.
Yeah.
Brandon, they're good, and they'll replace these guys, and they'll move on. But that, you never know. You just get it can kind of multiply on you. But it is June, middle of June, so Deebo Samuel, Brandon Brooks is out, kid from the Philadelphia Eagles. So, all right, let's do this. Let's go back to the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line 254-339-1122 and phone calls. If you call right now, when you call 254-339-1122, you get to choose, and this is for between now and 6. Round of golf to Cottonwood Creek, gift certificate to Chick-fil-A for a free, I think it's a free meal. And if you're in the Temple Belton area, or even in Waco, Wings Pizza and things. Thanks to Mike Dent, I've got a $25 gift card. We got 4 of those. So let's do that. We haven't done that in a long time. Craig Smoke with us. Craig, you got a topic? You guys think of one of your own? Paul Catalina. Mine was, are you positive now, any different how you feel about whether college football or high school football will start on time? That's my question. 254-339-1122. You got one?
No, I don't have a question.
Yeah, I like that one.
Are you positive, or are you different now? Do you feel differently now than what you did maybe even 5 days ago?
I feel worse about it. I do. I am not as optimistic as I was. I know that, to be completely optimistic and think that things were going to go smoothly would have been irresponsible. But, no, I do have my concerns. I'm not going to knee-jerk to every day of reporting and every piece of news that comes out, because I think far too many people knee-jerk to everything, and we don't even take the time to process things. We just react to them. But looking at numbers and looking at things opening up and looking at 13 players at Texas already in a matter of days have already tested positive, yeah, I'm a little bit worried about what the future holds.
I guess it's, I wondered, somebody asked me this yesterday. Do you think Zeke Elliott will get drafted in more fantasy football leagues earlier because he's already tested, like he's less likely now to test positive? We don't know if you can get it again yet. We haven't figured that out. But, yeah. But, he's already had it. And he might have antibodies and all that stuff. So, but I'd rather teams go through it now and guys deal with it now than later on. But that number, the big chunk of 13 guys, what I wonder, college football can withstand that much more than professional sports can, because you have a roster of 80. You have walk-ons, and you can, if it's the right 13 guys, you can make it through. But if you're the NFL and you already have 5 guys that are hurt, 2 guys with ACLs, 2 guys with ankles and hamstrings, and maybe some of the guys are going to miss the week. So say you have 7 people on your injury list that aren't going to play. Well, normally that's about a rough week of injuries. Well, then you get 13 guys that have to be quarantined. That's 20 people down on a roster, and now you're down to 35 active players. Like, what are you going to do? Like, how does – that's the thing that I wonder, how do you navigate that?
Well, and here's the thing, too, is, for a while there we were hearing, well, it's only if you're of high risk. Well, risks come with all ages. There's all sorts of things that people could be dealing with. It would be diabetes or cancer or asthma or whatever. This affects your breathing. This affects your lungs. So those asthma patients, for example, have to be even that much more cautious. But one sign that's, a little bit concerning is that for the longest it was, if you're 65 or older, then you really need to be cautious and okay. But hey, if you're younger and healthier, then you don't really have to worry about it all that much. But at the same time, you're still spreading it. And so today, for example, Waco announces in McLennan County, all the numbers, 18 new cases today, just for McLennan County. And of those cases, 5 of them are 19 or younger. So that's a third of the new cases are 19 years old or younger. 2 of them are in their 20s. Two of them are 30 to 39, and then there's some in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. But we're seeing a lot of the younger numbers now starting to spike up, which, given what we're talking about, which is college sports returning, yeah, that's a little bit concerning if those are the age groups that are going to start really spiking up.
I wonder if it's because you were able to go back to bars.
I'm sure they
were at night.
Hey, so Jacksonville, Florida, there was 12 people that tested positive, and what they did was this whole group of friends all went out to the bar the minute the bar opened up, and they all got it.
Just had to be there.
You know? So, and look, the cleanest bar in the world can't, clean as fast as people would come in and do that and get drunk and spill things. And
well, that's also where the mask comes into play, because the cleaning crew can't stop somebody's breath from getting on you and spreading the disease.
If you're at a bar, you're wearing a mask. You're there to drink beer. You're there to drink, or even if it's a Diet Coke. It's just
like if you're in a restaurant or a bar, wearing a mask is counterproductive. Once you can wear it, so we can sit there. The four of us go to a restaurant. We're all wearing masks. We get our food. We got to take the masks off. So while for the 20 minutes we were there waiting for our food, okay, we're fine. But as soon as we start eating our food, then the masks are off, and then what does that do?
254-339-1122. That's the number to call. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred. We're at the same place. We want to play. We want to reach an agreement. We're doing everything. In other words, Andrew Brandt goes, translation, blame them, the players. The players blame the owners. Everyone blames each other. So that's going on as well. 254-339-1122. This is SicEm365 Radio.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Drive forward at Allen Samuels. Get big summer values on new Jeeps, the vehicles of summer. Get 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on select Jeeps, plus new Jeep Gladiators featuring employee pricing for all. New Ram Lone Star Crew Cab 4x4s feature up to $10,250 in values. Shop safely in person or shop and buy online at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. Your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels.
Ask for details.
Our communities are facing unprecedented times. At Boozer's Jewelers, we care about you and your family. If you're like me, your home has unwanted or unused jewelry lying around. They can have value, and that means we can turn that jewelry into instant cash. This is a great way to get the most value from your unwanted jewelry. At Boozer's Jewelers, we buy all kinds of unused jewelry. So give us a call and let us give you peace of mind and cash for your unwanted or unused jewelry.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
This is SicEm 365 Radio. The SicEm 365 radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
I'm going to throw this nugget in as well with our calls, 254-339-1122. If the NFL draft, if everybody became a free agent right now, if everybody became a free agent, who would be the first three picks in the draft? If everybody, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, everybody became a free agent, Lamar Jackson, who would be the first three picks in the draft? You guys hold that in your pocket. We'll come back with that. Also, you can do it on the Twitter, at Craig Smoke, at David Smoke, at Paul Catalina, at Deps Right Steps, and
David Carter joins us now.
David Carter joins us on the phone lines. David, good afternoon. Thanks for your call on SicEm 365 Radio.
Guys,
Great to hear from you.
Enjoy the show. I'm just wondering if the testing for COVID isn't the new way that programs on the border or coaches on the edge won't take liberties. I think as we get into the season, assuming there is a season, and a team is struggling or a team has a really big game that week, will they be as diligent about testing? Will they be as careful about releasing the information? I just don't know that all teams are going to do this equally. And I think this is probably going to be the way NCAA football teams are going to cheat the system this year.
I mean, it's pretty interesting.
Great question. Thanks, David.
It's pretty interesting to think that. And I think this might be a harder one, too, because there's going to be so much public scrutiny on it, Craig, right? I mean, people are going to want to know every step of the way how the testing going, how many people have you tested, do you test again, what's going on, has anybody been sick?
Yeah, but as we've seen with these universities, they can get quiet pretty quick. I think that a school like Baylor coming out and being transparent, and I know others have as well, I think is a good first step. I think transparency is going to be really key. Last thing you want to do is lie about what's going on and then have an entire situation erupt. And, you've been saying or not saying much of anything, and also next thing you know, there's 100 kids on campus that have COVID-19, but here you are, and you haven't been saying much of anything about it. So, yeah, hopefully the transparency continues. But, like with anything else, somebody's going to somehow find a way to use it in an advantageous manner or to benefit themselves in some way. I don't know how, but somebody will find a way.
It's interesting. That's an interesting take, though. We are go back in the 70s, go to the 80s, let's take baseball alone. People find a way to beat the system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People, we saw what the Astros did, and probably the Red Sox, and perhaps even though the Yankees won't allow that out, maybe the Yankees. In college football, we see people pushing the envelope, whether it used to be just giving straight-up cash to players, some think that's still going on, or trying to have, other ways of getting recruits on campus.
Yeah.
Like Zion Williamson going from an apartment, like a two-bedroom, to a $800,000 plus home that his mother lived in when he arrived at Duke. Just
Yeah.
coincidentally, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be people who push the limits, and if this is the new way to do it, look, they've been lying about concussions for years.
True.
You know, this one is potentially, at least in the short term, less damaging than a concussion, in that you can be like, yeah, I mean, he tested positive, he's asymptomatic, it's fine. You know, like, just put him out there. I mean, because I think that's going to be the dividing line of who would do this, is they would just go, oh, well, he's not sick, so let's put him out there.
Yeah, that would open you up to so many legal problems, man.
Yeah.
That's fireable right out of the chute. So yeah, I mean, I think guys are going to be smart. And here's the thing: it's not like this is some disease or sickness that's exclusive to anybody. I mean, this is literally anybody can get it, including animals, apparently. You know, so. I think everybody's going to be smart and try to be transparent, but unfortunately, there probably will be those that try to find a shortcut of some sort. How that again could even be achieved, I really don't know. But certainly, the more transparency, the better, as far as I'm concerned. I'd rather know, even if it's some damaging number that says like, "Hey, there's no way we can have college football." I'd rather know that, because I'd much rather be knowledgeable about the health of myself and the people around me than to be completely in the dark and not, know any better. But, it's going to be really interesting. This is a phrase I'll go back to that I've gone to so many times, uncharted territory for sure.
Jabari Young on Twitter is talking about ownership, and he's been outspoken, obviously, over the last few weeks, or he's tried to educate people along the way. Of all the owners in pro sports since the pandemic and social unrest, sports trying to come back, tons of obstacles, which sports owner has been the best from March 11th until today?
I don't keep track of that.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
He mentioned Mark Cuban.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Cuban. Yeah, I mean, Mark Cuban's been. It didn't surprise me that Mark Cuban was going to be out in front of a lot of this stuff, because that's how
he just needs to run for president already. Quite frankly.
Yeah, he had advisors tell him that it wasn't a good time. I'm like, what do you mean it's not a good time?
The best time.
You put that guy on stage with two senile old men, he's going to run circles around
him. Can you
him.
imagine? I don't even want to get into politics, because somebody will somehow get offended over just completely joking about something.
Yeah.
But to think that he wouldn't go on stage and just completely run circles around any candidate that we've seen that's even been a potential candidate, any of them, he would run circles at the speed of light.
He also, remembered for a little bit there, joined a little group as a national group that Trump, they were like looking at how they're going to try to bounce back from this business being shut down.
And you know what, though? Like, that was also including Dana White, and they've been back, and that was also including Vince McMahon. Something that's come out this week is the two wrestling promotions have been running their tapings with no fans for the last few weeks because they just have to have product. They have no choice because their TV contracts, they have to be out there doing something. And so they've been doing these closed set tapings. And AEW, which is owned by the Khan family, Jaguars, they've been using Daly's Place, which is like the little offset stadium there next to the Jaguar stadium. And so it's plenty of room and all that, but those guys are being tested every single taping. Every single time that they're around, those guys are getting tested. WWE, meanwhile, has been running their tapings at their little facility in Florida, their NXT facility, and the only test that they've apparently been doing this entire time is they've been telling people, we're testing. They have not actually done a real COVID test. They're simply checking temperatures at the door, and if you don't have any symptoms, then you're just free to go. And they started bringing like relatives and stuff back to serve as fans this week. And that's got the potential to really blow up in their face, because the point of that being, not everybody a part of that commission or just in general in sports is operating the same way. Some are, full on testing daily, and some are just like, oh, you don't have a temperature, go right ahead and be around 100 other people. So, it's been interesting to see how each league's kind of decided to go about things.
Yeah.
Cuban has given some financial advice. He's also said, like we mentioned that today, that whatever his players want to do, he'll support them. He's not the only one. Someone else said, Gail Benson of the Saints made a pretty strong statement, well-written statement, also established a committee of sorts for the Saints and Pelican players to lead the team's efforts in trying to have an impact on social issues. Arthur Blank
and Gail
of
Benson,
the Falcons.
Gail Benson could use a little positive PR right now because of what's going on with the the lawsuit of the saints in the Catholic Church and how she helped, the bishop there, who actually, the Archbishop Gregory Amen used to be the bishop here of the Diocese of Austin, covered Waco.
Oh, really?
And so they've had that thing going on right now, and that's kind of getting dicey. But, and that whatever comes out of that, it will come out of that. But, yeah, she's done some good things. Arthur Blank's done a lot of good things for a long time. We had an Uber driver in Atlanta. Craig, were you with me in this one? The Uber driver worked at the Home Depot home office there in Atlanta, and she was doing Uber because her son was about to go to college, and any extra money she could make, to save up money for especially the first year when you've got to buy a mini fridge and a bedspread and all these, different things that you'll have for the rest of your 4 years, she was going to have that. And I said, well, what's it like working for Arthur Blank is great. And she said that he is fantastic with their employees, that anything, like almost anything that they need, he'll have it covered. If there's anything going on, he's fantastic. So this doesn't surprise me about Arthur Blank.
And then the story also today and again, this is just, it's going to get news. It's going to have traction. We've mentioned it a couple of times. We asked Mickey about it, about Jamal Adams, who's unhappy with the Jets. Hell of a player, great safety. Named 7 teams. And if you rattle them off, which of these teams was not a playoff team last year? Baltimore. Dallas.
Well, Dallas wasn't.
I know. Texans.
Nope,
Kansas City won it all. Philadelphia won the division. 49ers. Seahawks. It's like, which car do you want to drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone going to say the 1976 Corolla? You're going to pick. These are all really good franchises where he wants to play. The question is, it's not what Jamal Adams wants, although in this day and age sometimes the player has that power. It's what do the Jets want?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to trade him. And then you go down, well, come on, you get rid of him. He doesn't want to play for you. Then all of a sudden it's your player.
Yeah, but who says that? It's all the fans of the rival teams who want to see him leave.
Of the ones
so
he mentioned,
their opinion means
that's
nothing.
my point.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
And I've read a bunch of Jets people, and the sentiment is the same as like it's going to get ugly and tense, but the Jets fully intend to pay him, just not today.
Right.
And Jamal Adams wants to get paid right now. And so that Mickey just said it. The conflict is these guys want to get their guaranteed money now before the salary cap drops. So Jamal Adams is trying to play a card so that he can either get his extension or get traded to somewhere that might give him one before that happens. And I don't think he gets traded. I mean, he's the best player on the Jets. They're going to trade him? Who's better than him on the Jets right now?
Denzel Mims soon enough, Paul.
Yeah, but,
okay, here's the deal. They own his rights for 2 years, plus a potential franchise tag in 3 years. He's a team-friendly $3.5 million, $9.9 in 2021, and that's the 5th-year option. It's why the NFL, when you pick a first round, you get a first round pick. It's why you want that extra. You want that extra year to be able to have him secured. It's Adams. He'll get his money, like you said, but there's no need. Why teams would be stupid because he's valuable enough to be what C.J. Mosley is or somebody else is, who are getting 14 to 17 million. Well, let's just go ahead and do that when you don't have to. When you don't have to.
Yeah.
If, in fact, I'm trying to use an example. I don't know if I'll come up with one. Something is like personal, what you buy. Like, okay, you're going to buy this, and it's let's say it's $40,000. It's a car.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pay for it all up front if you can, and you have the cash. But if you don't have to, do you want? If you
no.
That's why there are interest rates, installments, all that.
That's why that was invented. If everybody had to pay for their house, their car, or anything up front,
no one would have one.
We'd all live in tents and walk.
Yeah.
Except for guys like Jamal Adams, who, even though he's underpaid, could still buy all of those things. Yeah. I look at this much like I view the Dak contract talk. I don't care one iota about Jamal Adams' desire to get out of New York. You talk about crying wolf over and over and over again. And right now, when there's so much uncertainty, just for me personally, the last thing I want to hear about is some dude crying about his money when he's a millionaire. I don't care to hear it. Dude, there are people that are killing themselves, legitimately committing suicide because they can't handle what's going on right now. And best believe some of what people can't handle is the loss of their jobs and money and being able to support their families. And, that's real world stuff. And so is getting your next contract, Jamal Adams. But, just from my viewpoint, this is maybe the only timing that he can do this, and so it's just coincidental. I don't think he's a bad dude or anything like that, but I just don't care to hear it.
He also might be in a detention.
Yeah.
Horror, yes.
Yeah.
Very well could be. There's a lot of guys like that. I don't know if Jamal Adams is one of those, though. I mean, this has been pretty consistent. He's wanted out in New York for a long time now, and so just more of the same, really. But, Earl Thomas eventually did get out. He just didn't go to Dallas like we all thought he was going to. He instead ends up with Baltimore. So I'm sure Jamal Adams sees that like, hey, Earl Thomas finally got out. He went from Seattle to Baltimore. I'd love to do that too. I bet you would. But it's not that simple.
Bill Self. Kansas is embattled head basketball coach. His attorney sent a notice of claims and request preserving evidence to the NCAA last week, informing the governing body that the Kansas coach is considering legal action as a result of the investigation into his program. The letter sent to the NCAA Vice President of Legal Affairs and General Counsel. Self's attorney wrote the purpose of the letter was to formally put the NCAA on notice and of Mr. Self's current and prospective claims against the NCAA relating to the investigation of KU.
By the way, if he wins, say he does sue.
Oh, my
and he
God.
wins.
Yes.
If he wins, the NCAA is there's nothing they can do anymore.
The
There's nothing they can
they're
do.
claiming he's considering legal action. Let's see, against the NCAA employees representative, negligence, breach of contract, defamation, fraud, tortious interference with the contract, tortious interference with prospective contract. They're charged with those 5 level 1 violations.
Yeah.
See, here's a school that's going to, KU and Matt, they're going to fight this like North Carolina did. And in the end, now we've seen some schools get hammered.
Yeah.
Why do I think that the Kansas this is not going to be a big deal? This is going to
because it never is. I mean,
Never is.
why would we believe it's going to be a big deal? I mean, even the most harsh penalties we've seen dished out. Okay, SMU and the death penalty 30 years ago. No, 40 years ago at this point. And that was SMU. I mean, that's, all due respect. That's still SMU. That's not Penn State or Kansas basketball or Alabama football. Nothing happens to Kansas. And if it does, it's not even anything that ends up impacting the program in any way that it's visible to our eyes. So, I mean, of course I don't think anything's going to happen.
Here's one of the arguments. The record is clear and undisputed. Payments allegedly made to the families, guardians of the 3 student athletes cited in the ANOA were intentionally concealed from KU, Mr. Self, and the coaching staff. Now, they might have audio tapes.
Yeah. But
if that's a way to get out of these things now.
Look, I don't think – I'm just going to give Bill Self a little credit here that he's a little smarter than Will Wade, that he's not going to just go on the phone and –
And what happened to him?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
He was on the phone.
So
recorded.
Whenever anybody comes to me like, oh, what's the NCAA going to do? Why are you afraid of them? They're like, it's honest. It's like being afraid of Bigfoot.
Will Wade was out 2 days ago offering a trio of 2022 players.
There you go.
I mean, he's
Why?
been super impacted by the cheating that he blatantly did.
I heard the tape on the documentary.
Yeah,
Like, it was blatant. It was blatant.
I mean, this is, if anything, is just Bill Self saying, "I dare you," and if you do come after me, then I'm suing you. And maybe it turns out to be a lawsuit a la Penn State that they're able to get out of the entire thing.
But if an individual coach can sue and win, then the NCAA has to reevaluate and redo everything that they do, because then what can you do to someone? Legitimately, right now, they need to ask that question anyway. What can they really do? All the best lawyers aren't working there anymore. The schools hire them away. What can you do? Nothing. So what's the point? What is the point of them if they can't do anything? And why, investigations take all this time and all, what's...
I mean, there's just no excusing the fact that Baylor's been under investigation for 5 years and there's still no end result. And I know what they're doing. They're waiting for the court stuff to play out. And, that shouldn't be allowed, in my opinion. I don't think you should be waiting on the court system to tell you that somebody was guilty of this or guilty of that or whatever, and then you take that into account. I mean, it would be nice information to have, but my gosh, It's been 5
but
years.
That's not their job.
It's not their job.
Their
it's
job
been 5
is,
years.
Their job is, did Baylor gain any competitive advantage from any of this?
Which, if they can't answer that by now, how in the world can they not answer that by now? How do you not know that by now, whether or not they did what you are alleging they did? It's that simple. It's not, well, we got to see. No, did they or did they not? You've had 4.5, 5 years now to figure this out. And granted, they've got the Kansas case and they've got all the other cases, but they just sit there and legitimately, when they finally come out with a penalty for Baylor, whenever that may be, if they even do that, I mean, it's going to be dudes who are in middle school when it happened.
Yeah.
If not borderline elementary school by the time that it happens. I mean, shoot, right now, back then, I mean, a senior in college right now would have been like a 7th grader, right? Or no. Like a freshman in college would have been a 7th grader when the Baylor story happened. So, like, you're going to punish those dudes? Because you wait 2 more years, people who were in 5th grade when that story happened are not going to be able to play in a bowl game that are suddenly in college. You know what I mean? So it's
coaches,
silly.
Coaches who weren't on the staff.
3 staffs ago.
Yeah, who maybe hadn't even been to Waco yet in their lives.
Yeah, no, the NCAA is a joke. I don't buy anything that comes out of their mouths. I don't believe in them. I know that there's school officials and such that have to still be somewhat fearful of them, but just as an outside observer, they're toothless except for against, smaller opponents. They're kind of like the bully in the block. The big boys, they can't take much of a punch, but they get those smaller ones, and they know that they can kind of wail on them a little bit without much repercussion. So this is a big boy they're fighting with, and I'd go with Kansas in this case.
If the bigger the school, the larger the school, especially the state schools or even some of the private schools, the tradition-rich, the alpha dogs, the blue bloods, whatever sport. When we come back, wrap up this 54th edition of SicEm365 Radio. Tell you a little bit about tomorrow. Look back at today. This is SicEm365 Radio. Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has represented a couple of things. Great product, great customer service, and a family-owned business that has been able to survive and thrive even though you have these big box stores that come into towns like Waco or Temple or areas like Bryan College Station or smaller cities and just gobble up local business. Well, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Customer service that's unmatched and product that is absolutely just fantastic. They offer the best in metal buildings, components, metal roofing, structural pipe. They have heavy-duty pipe, steel, and metal for buildings you build, fences you want, and much, much more. They will help you with your project, offering suggestions on design and providing you a list, if you want, of reliable contractors as well. Offering high-quality materials, making sure your metal building bids are structurally sound. Competitors will bid buildings lighter to make them cheaper, oftentimes compromising the integrity, the structural integrity. Pioneer Steel and Pipe will bid the right way as if it was their own building for themselves. Offering the fastest turnaround time in the business on metal building orders, large pipe inventory, giving you options of what you want. Both locations in Waco and Bryan open Saturday mornings. If you can't get there during the week, they're open from 8 until noon. For any questions, it's 754-2611, 254 area code. Visit them at pioneerboys.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion. And I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. And order 30-pound bags of live crawfish by noon on Thursday and pick up on Friday to enjoy the weekend. Live crawfish available right now. And Waco Custom Marketplace doors are open for business Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5. And crawfish boil boxes available as well. Make your order for live crawfish by noon on Thursday. Pick up on Friday for the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh kolaches, cinnamon rolls, and baked bread daily. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, and house-cured and smoked bacon. Spices, seasoning, soup mixes, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Waco Custom Marketplace, doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.